is closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello everyone and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name's Bart Hanson, I'm here with Dave Tuckman, and tonight's Wednesday night, so we're doing Poker Blues Whale Night, which means it's 5,100, no limit hold'em. We've got several pros on the table. We have Frank Mariani, the co-owner of the Lakers. We have Bobby Balland, or Jean-Robert Balland. We have Tim Fan. We have Yosh Nakano, as usual. Yeah. And this game's big. And it's a restricted buy-in no-limit game. Everyone starts with 5,000, and then as they go broke, they can just continuously buy more and more and more.
Right.
So let's get to it. Let's get to the action.
Yeah, the game starts big and gets bigger. Seat one, we've got Yosh Nakano, our high-limit host here at the Bicycle Casino. There he is. Seat number two, we've got Ed Shanananazarian. There he is. And Ed has really improved his game in recent months, I must say. In seat three, we have Jean-Robert Balande eating some chow. Seat four, we've got Barry Don't Call Me Greenstein Woods taking a shot in the big game. And he looks a little short shift there. Maybe he'll rebuy. Seat five, we've got Frank Mariani. Always a fun-loving guy there. Seat six, we've got Tim Fan. Always a dangerous, dangerous player. Seat six, we've got Ken Cuckoo Ruberg. And that's Tim Fan there.
Yep.
And there's Ken Berg.
Yep.
There we go. And seat number eight, we've got Mike. Mike's a pretty high-limit player, plays a lot of high-limit cash games.
He's a very loose player, Dave, action player.
He's I played him the other night, actually. Pretty aggressive. Not a bad player at all. Seat 9, we've got Don. And he just goes by the Don.
Well, the chips for this game, the white chips are $100 chips, and the pink chips are $50 chips. We're going to hop right into a collection pot. And I believe the collection is $25 per head per half an hour. Whoever wins the pot pays the collection for the entire table. If you want to follow a live thread started on the internet, you can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums. World Poker Tour and other televised tournaments. And right now we're going to hop into the first hand. We've got Pocket Queens for seat 3.
Wow, and Jack's there for seat 6.
Yep. And Jean-Robert, he's on the button. Tim, I believe, brought it in for a raise. And I think that Jean-Robert just made a smooth call. So we're heads up here. And look at this rags fall. Both players have an overpair.
Oh, this could get dangerous here. You know,
pot's about $1,000 right now, and Fan is going to lead for about $1,200 here.
Balande was trying to trap him, and he's done just that.
11.
It's a $1,100 bet, actually.
Now, the only thing with this kind of flop is if Tim actually was betting a real hand here.
Well, Jean-Robert's going to go all in over the top.
And is Tim going to call this now?
Well, it's not that much more, I don't think, Dave. I think it might only be about $2,500 more. And Tim's going to make the call. And we quickly have about a I want to say maybe $6,000 to $7,000 pot here right off the bat, first hand of the night.
Yeah, now Balande's playing style really induces a call here.
And they're going to...
They're going to run it. Are they going to run it a couple times?
Yep, turns an 8. River's a 10. That's no help. Turn is a king, and the river's a deuce. And look at that, Jean-Robert, or as he's known, Bobby by his friends.
Yeah, why don't we just call him Bobby?
34, 35.
Bobby set the trap and trapped Tim really well there. Now, Balande's playing style, he will semi-bluff with big raises. And, if he had Jack-Queen there, or 7-8 there, it wouldn't be above him to make that exact same move,
right?
Which is why he does get paid off.
Yep. Now, if you want to email us, you can email us at live@thebike.com. You can check out our website, liveatthebike.com, spelled out in letters, and you can click on the banner on the left-hand side of your screen that just explains that process. And It's
It's as seen on the live.
as seen on Live at the Bike. That's
yeah.
what I was trying to get off the top of my head.
You click on that little banner.
As seen on Live at the Bike, and that will explain to you how we run it multiple times in a no-limit cash game, just a way of hedging the variance.
Pretty much.
Button's going to move over to seat 4. So having Mike in this game is going to be pretty spicy, and Ed as well in seat 2.
Has Mike played in the big game numerous times?
Not in this game. Not that I remember.
Because it's funny, I got to be honest with you. I've played him a couple of times, and you were saying he's a real action, kind of a loose player, and I haven't seen that. I mean, I've played with him, and he's action, he's aggressive, but I think he's pretty good. I'll be curious to see how he plays tonight.
Well, Bobby Balan's going to raise over there in seat 3. We can't see his cards. He's in seat 3. He's in the cutoff. Again, we can't see his cards. And it looks like he's got King Queen.
Yeah, King Queen. He's going to take it down.
He's
Right
here.
here.
And that's, of course, that's Barry Woods. Don't call me Barry Woo in seat 4.
Now it's don't call me. Now it's Barry. Don't call me Woo.
Right.
Woods.
Right.
One thing great about this whale night is we always get different faces here. One night you get Vic Park and Avo and Mike Woo. Then the following week you get Tim Fan and Frank Mariani.
Yeah. Seat 5's got the button.
Yosh kind of keeps it a revolving door of players.
If you heard that, you would have said it was unbelievable. 300 to one shot.
We're going to see a raise here to 300 by Don in seat 9. He's got ace-7 suited. Frank Mariani's going to make the call with ace-rag offsuit on the button. And we're going to go heads up here. Ace-7 against ace-5, $600 pot. Don's got the betting lead. And actually Ken called in there with 6-4 spades, so we got a $900 pot.
All diamonds out there, 9-8 deuce.
And this one looks like it might get checked around here, Dave.
And whoever bets this one is going to take it.
Yep, Frank does not bet. Turns a 6. Now Ken Kukaru's got a pair of 6s. Don's open-ended now with the 7.
Yep. And Frank's got that gut shot, obviously not good.
And everybody checks again, and the river is a 5. No one has a diamond.
No, Don's got the straight, though.
Yeah, and look at that. There's the straight there for Don when he was open-ended with the 7, and the straight. Valuable card there. You know, valuable to have a straight when there's a 4 flush out there, right, Dave?
Yeah, that's pretty much the only time it's going to be valuable.
Right.
I mean, you can't blame Don for not betting. He goes, well, there's no value in betting this one. Just take it down.
And he takes down a $900 pot there. Again,
it's always nice when we get a nice mix of some really big-time cash players with big-time tournament players. And obviously, some of the big-time tournament players are also cash game players. But obviously, you know, Bobby Balande and Tim Fan have really made themselves known and famous through their tournament poker. Players like Yosh Nakano
and who knows over here tonight, we might actually get a thread started on Full Contact Poker at Daniel Negreanu's site, so you can look over there too, check that out. They've been kind of lacking over the last week or so. Seat 6 has the button here, and Ed Shanazarian, he's got King Queen suited, and he's going to make it 250 to go. Again, the white chips are hundreds, the pinks are 50s, blues are $1 chips. And Ed is 5,000 behind Dave, which probably meant he's already gone broke.
I think Ed actually just sat down.
Okay, he did. Well, he's 5,000 behind anyways. So that's what you got to start with, and he's going to take you down there.
I knew he came to the casino a little late tonight.
Now, if you, and again, we are switching times for Live with the Bike starting next week. We're going to start at 7 Pacific time. And the reason we're doing that is, you know, it's a little bit of an awkward time to start a game, Dave. And obviously, those on the East Coast and those in Europe can always catch our show on the 24-hour rerun that we run out all the way up until 4 o'clock the next day.
300.
Yeah.
Frank Mariani's going to bring this one in seat 5 for 300. He's got pocket 6s.
Imagine trying to get poker players up by 4 o'clock to get here by 6. It's
Right,
tough.
right.
Most poker players are only rolling out of bed by 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Now, Mike P's going to call in seat 8. We can't see what he has over there. He's got to show his cards in seat 8.
Bet the Lakers and over, 89.5.
He's got a Queen 5 suited. The flop comes Ace 10 7.
Oh, he's missed this. Frank
See if
Mariani
Frank's
in the
going to
lead.
bet in position here.
Lakers are on the road?
Now, Mike's going to come out and bet, though.
Lakers are on the road?
700.
He's going to bet 700. Frank quickly folds pocket 6s. And you can imagine that Mike was going to take one shot at that and then, you know, probably hold up there. And Frank,
It's not a bad idea, you know what I mean? You think about it, if your opponent does not have a pair free flop, they're only going to get a pair about 1 out of 3 times. And if the player is passive enough where he's only going to call you if he hits a pair, and especially top pair, well, hey, why not take the shot once in a while?
Right, Frank?
And then obviously in the cases where your opponent has raised with a pair, obviously the ace is very often a scare card, and the ultimate scare card.
Button's going to move over here to Mike in seat 8. Those are my favorite chips, Dave, on the table. Those pink $50 chips. You don't see them in play that often.
They're
Look
sexy.
at Tim Fan. He's got a big purple chip, which is a $5,000 chip in front of him in seat 6.
Yeah, those pink chips, those are, I mean, I got to play the pink chips and the white chips together. They really coexist well, don't they?
So we got big purples, which are $5,000, and then if you see a big gray chip, it's $1,000. We'll guide you through that the whole night.
Vic and him. 5 players.
Five-way action. Looks like it's limped around. And it might have been a straddled pot here, Dave, because it looks like there's 1,000 in the pot.
Look at Yosh. Yosh looks like a white chip, doesn't he? Look at that shirt.
King, queen, deuce.
500.
And Ken Kukuruberg's going to bet on a flush draw, and it looks like he's probably going to take it down.
Yeah, well, nobody's got a king, nobody's got a queen, nobody's got a draw except him.
Well, we got a call here by Mike with 9-10 offsuit. Is he setting up a move? And Ken's going to bet again.
He looks like a very big guy. He looks like a small guy.
And Mike calls again. Well, he's trying to chase a gut shot here. He needs a jack. And the river's a queen. And can Ken fire one more time? He checks. Mike is going to take the initiative to bet here. It looks like maybe 22,000 there. $2,000 bet.
Yeah, he
And
needed
he's going
to
to
bet
take
it.
it down. Yeah.
Because they would have chopped it up. Well, obviously, both players have kings and queens with a 10 kicker. Well, odd play by Mike, you know. I guess he just sensed the weakness that Ken had, sensed that he was on a draw and he had nothing big, and he figured he could take it away from him.
We got to figure if Ken fired one more time, Mike would have folded.
Poker Stars, the 100
But how can you fire two more? You know, you fire on the flop, you fire on the turn, and your opponent calls you both times.
Right.
You know, you have a spade draw. It's really hard to put him on a spade draw.
Right.
Any sane person is usually calling with something.
Outside of that, it's Prima Poker, and I just heard that Hollywood Poker has a 100, 200. But that's but all the European sites have the 100, 200. The Prima Network has that one.
300.
$300 raise here.
Poker Stars like something different.
$300 raise.
Looks like
Frank Mariani. Oh no, actually, it is
seat 8. Mike, he's got ace jack.
Yeah.
And look at that. Ed's going to fold the jack 10, and Mike is going to take it down. We often see pretty tight play in the early goings of this game. You know, trying to, feel each other out.
This is a new and improved Ed. I got to tell you, he's really, you know, Ed is a successful, very successful businessman, and he's not a very successful businessman because he's a dumb man. He's obviously a very smart guy. Realized that he didn't like throwing away thousands of dollars every week playing poker, but he loved playing poker.
Yeah.
So he figured he better learn how to play a little better, and he really has. He's improved his game.
It seems like it should be a problem that can be fixed.
Tim Fan's going to open here for 400. Ken Berg's going to call. He's got pocket 9s, and actually that's the other way around. Tim Fan's got the 9s, and Ken calls with the ace 5 suited. Yoshi's in there, king queen on the button, and Bobby Balan's going to come over the top with pocket 7s. He's going to make it 1,600 to go.
And that's a real big. I mean, that's a huge tournament play, but it can work here as well, obviously.
And look at that, Tim Fan's going to call.
Now, these players are not that deep.
No, this is a restricted game when it starts out.
Yeah. Now later on, obviously, an hour from now, a lot different. Now, Yosh, can he call and overcall?
Well, he's going to basically be all in unless he has more money behind that we can't see. He folds. Yeah, we're going to go heads up here. It's a $4,000 pot. Jean Robert with the betting lead from up front. Here we go. And he flops a set. But Tim Fan probably shouldn't get into a lot of trouble here, Dave. The ace comes out on the board.
No, this is pretty easy. And right now, you wonder if Volande's kind of hoping that he's kind of wishing that he had just smooth called.
He's going to bet $1,600 into a $4,000 pot. Kind of a weak bet. Well, maybe he's trying to make it look to Tim like he's got queens or kings and he's scared of the ace.
You wonder if he had slow played it and just smooth called with the 7s, if he would have made more money.
And I think that that's what Tim Fan's hoping to see here. He's going to make the call, and the pot's $7,200. Here we go to the turn. Turn's a 4. It's a $7,200 pot.
Is Volande going to slow down here at all? Maybe give Fan a chance to
bet it?
bluff.
Yeah. I think that Tim's thinking maybe Jean Robert has kings, queens, or jacks here, and he's scared.
Well, that's the whole point. Maybe Volande can, but if he puts in too much, obviously he'll know that he can't bluff him out. You know what I mean? If he bets 2,000 here, even if Tim puts him on kings or queens, he knows he won't be able to get him off the hands.
Right.
So you got to kind of think of, okay, I have to be able to induce the bluff. Maybe I can represent my jacks or
you know
queens
what
here.
though? I don't know. These guys are pretty deep. If you bet 2,000, Pham came over the top all in for 5,000.
He's only got 2,000 left though. After that.
No, he's got about 5,000 there in front of him, doesn't he?
Does he?
And he's going to check it right there. There you go, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I think why not no limit? You can check it one time, see
Yeah.
if your opponent, especially Tim Fan, who's very aggressive, takes a shot at it. If he doesn't, you can now throw in the bet.
But
on
look
the
at
river.
this. Tim Fan's going to check right behind him, and the river is a king. And it gets worse and worse for Tim. It's
Yeah.
about a $7,200 pot here again.
And now Blonde can throw in a nice bet here, and Tim doesn't know where he's at.
Well, what can he beat now?
Well, he can beat pocket eights, he can beat pocket sixes.
And he's trying to think of it again. Again, he re-raised out of the blind pre-flop.
I love the
And
way
he's
he's
going
taking.
to move all in here, Dave. And he's taking all the play out of it. But again, what can Tim beat? He can't beat queens. He can't beat kings. He can't beat jacks. Set of aces out there. Set of 10. Set of 7s.
I got to tell you, I love the way Blondes played this hand. I love the way he played it. He checked it once, kind of suggesting that maybe he didn't love the flop. Tim didn't bite, and now
Right.
he's kind of over-betting the pot almost a little bit.
Making it look like a steal, possibly.
Well, maybe. But now Tim doesn't know.
Isn't there just one specific hand that Tim could beat here? Pocket eights?
Well,
Pretty much.
Let me ask you this, though. If Blonde hadn't hit his set, you think he'd play the hand any differently? Who knows? I mean, if the flop came out ace-10-6, would he be playing it any differently? Remember, he raised with an inferior hand, and Tim picked up on that and
Right.
called him. I mean, right now, Blonde is the kind of player, he could have fives right now.
Dave, it's about a $6,000 bet here all in, or about, let's call it $5,000. And that means that the pot is about $12,000, and Pham's got him covered. So we're talking about a $12,000 pot, $5,000 to call. And again, and there you go. Tim's going to muck it. But I think that Bobby took all the play out of it there at the river, because what can Tim really beat there
Yeah.
on the river?
The problem with it is I don't think, and Tim's a smart guy, and Bobby obviously knows that Tim's a smart guy. The pot is what, $7,000, right?
Right.
Okay. Now Bobby bets $2,000 on the river. The pot's then $9,000. If Tim then moves over the top
Right.
for another, $3,000, the pot is then what, $13,000, $2,000 to call. There's no way Bobby's going to throw that away. He's not even going to throw queens away there. I don't think for 2,000 more.
Well, the other thing though too is that it kind of looked like an overbet, but in essence he went all in. But it was already 7,000. He
Yeah.
moved for 5,000. So I mean, he's just hoping that Tim, might have a big piece of that, like something like Ace King or something like that, right? But you can't imagine that Tim would have checked Ace King behind there on the turn. Three-way action here, $300 raise. It's a $900 pot. 8-6-2. Again, Bobby Blonde needs to show his hand over there in C3.
500. Put your cards on the winner just real quick.
And he's going to come out and he's going to bet. Well, it looks like
Yeah, it checked around to Ed, and Ed bet
Ed
this.
bet with middle pair there, and he's going to take it down. There it is.
Yeah, Frank Mariani had raised with ace-10,
Yep.
and both blinds called.
What's lovely, Dave, to finally have you in here for a whale night, huh?
Yeah, I've been real excited to play this one, get into this one.
Yep. Button moves to seat 3. Again, you can email us live@thebike.com. Tonight's show is sponsored by Poker Blue. Check their site out at pokerblue.com. Play 4 hours of any 1-2 limit game or higher, any no limit game, and you qualify for the big fat weekly free roll, which
What do you get now for that?
thousands of dollars in cashes and prizes.
Wow, pretty cool.
Yeah.
For free.
That's right, for free,
cool.
just 4 hours a week.
6 players.
6-way action, limped around.
King 5-6 rainbow out here. Ed's got the best hand, but not much of a taker. I'm sorry, Mike actually has the best hand there. Mike's got King Jack.
He's going to bet 400.
Let's see if Ed gets himself in trouble here. Let's see if we got the new improved Ed, or he gets himself in trouble with
Jean Robert's
King.
going to call with middle pair here, 6-10.
players.
And the pot is now 1,400. And then there's a third player in there. It's seat 2. And Ed spikes 2 pair here on the turn. The pot is about $2,000. Let's see what Mike's going to do here with the King Jack.
Now Mike knows Ed, and you wonder if Mike might get himself in trouble here.
He's going to bet 800. Pot's 2,800. And Ed's just going to call, it looks like. He does not raise with 2 pair. And the pot balloons to over 3,500. The river's a 4. It could be an action killer here. And this one's just going to get checked down.
Come on, Ed.
Yeah.
How is that an action killer? What, you think your opponent was betting King 3?
Well, apparently for Ed, it's an action killer.
I mean, let's be honest. Think of hands that he might be betting. If he had 7-8, you know, he's there already. I know that. He gets there. But he checked to you.
Now, you know what we like to say about pros? They usually will value bet against the whales, Dave.
You got to value bet that one. You got to throw a little money in there.
Definitely going to value bet against the whales as opposed to trying to play it tricky and say check raise. Barry Woods, we haven't seen him play yet tonight. He's got the button in seat 4.
I mean, that last hand, you've got to just figure it out. You've got to go, wait a second. If Mike actually made his straight with the 7-8, he had the betting lead the entire way. He can't expect to check the river, and he's not going to expect Ed to suddenly bet it. You know, Ed's shown no strength whatsoever.
Limped around here 5 ways, $500 pot, queen 4-7. Ken's got the nut flush draw in seat 7.
Mariani's got 2 pair.
Yeah, he's got top 2 pair in seat 5.
400.
And Mike's going to come out and he's going to bluff at it here with king 6 of hearts. And this might, and let's see, Frank checked it from up front. Let's see if he's going to check raise. And he is. He's going to mini raise it up to 800 total.
And is Ken going to call this with the nut draw?
He is. Wow.
Well, you know, there's a mini raise. It's only $800. Problem is, though, is I don't know if Ken Berg has enough money to really make this worthwhile.
It's a $2,600 pot, 400 to call. How can Mike call this now?
Yes, sir.
No, I imagine Mike is. Well, you never know. I mean, we saw him earlier call with 10-9. He had no pair, no draw.
But he had a gut shot to the jack. This time he has nothing. And he's going to make the call, and the pot's now 3,000. Wow.
What's he doing? I don't understand this play at all.
Turns a king. Well, now he spikes a king, but Frank still has 2 pair.
Yeah, I mean,
and Frank doesn't have that much left.
And this is Frank showing strength. And when Frank shows strength, he's got it, doesn't he?
He's going to bet $1,500 into the $2,000 pot.
And this is the problem with Ken now. This is the problem with going for draws and no limit hold'em.
Well, I think that extra rack of white there, that stack is Ken's as well over there.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Pot's $3,500, and Ken calls. It's a $5,000 pot, and is this going to get Mike in trouble? He's going to call, folks. These are
he's
white
raising.
chips. Whoa, he raises.
He just made it 3,000.
He made it 3,000, and
Ken's going to call for this.
He
sure
mini raised. He mini raised. He made it 3,000. Frank called. Ken called, and this is an unbelievable
Now,
pot.
Ken is all in. Those chips are obviously not Ken.
We're at $11,000, and the river's a 5. Ken makes a flush, and he's going to take the whole thing down.
Yeah, he actually takes. But the one thing I'll say is Frank actually does get some money from Mike. He wins the side pot. The side pot is probably somewhere around, I'm going to say, $2,000.
I don't know. I think that Ken was with seat 5 was pretty much all in, Dave.
Oh, so seat 5 was all in also.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. See.
Okay. So seat 5 was.
Thank you, Kenny. Big line, Kenny.
I mean, what is Mike doing?
So Mike basically was raising, but both players were all in. Didn't make a difference. Raising for no reason.
Well, Ken had, I guess, maybe $1,500 left in seat 7 or so, $1,500 to $2,000, and he just put the money in. I mean, at that point, the pot was already about $10,000. He needed to call about $1,500. He made the call.
Yeah, I don't even think Ken had that much because he threw some of those pink chips in there.
Really? Wow.
I mean, he might have had $600 left.
Raise it.
I mean, Mike's raising for what reason? What, to get a free showdown?
I don't know what he's
both
doing
players
over
are all
there.
in anyway. And Ken Berg sucks out there, but at least he was in there with some sort of a hand.
And that's one of the, it's our biggest pot so far tonight. Now, Bobby Ballon's going to come in here. 3-4 offsuit. He's going to raise here in late position. Now, seat 9 had limped in here with a queen 10 offsuit, and he's not going to play. And
I tell you, I know I'm biased,
Bobby's gonna
but this
take
is
it
what
down.
makes Live at the Bike so phenomenal. You know, it makes you and I are some of the luckiest people in the world to be able to do commentary for a show like this. Where how often can you see a live cash game, completely live and unedited, cash game, no limit hold'em, 5,100 blinds with the likes of Tim Fan, Robert Belande. 2 weeks ago we had Phil Locke on it. I mean, it's really phenomenal. I mean, when you watch the other shows on TV, when you're seeing edited poker, it just does not even come close to this.
Button's moved over to seat 6. Again, we haven't seen Barry Woods play a hand yet.
He's in there for about 10,000. He's rebought, though.
Frank, you want to call 100?
I guess Yosh has some really liberal rebuy things. Yeah, you want to rebuy? Sure. go
Well,
ahead.
I was going to, Shirley always gets on me when I have these nights. This game, pretty much, they make the rules up as they go along. There's nothing wrong with that, because it's just a buy-in. I mean, I'm talking about not the poker rules, but the buy-in rules. It's just...
Well, the whole point to make it a restricted buy-in game,
Yeah.
Yosh has told me, he said he doesn't want somebody to come in, because people will do it in a big game like this, somebody coming in for $250,000
Right.
and just bullying the table over. Because there are players at the table that are a little a little less familiar with no limit
Right,
hold'em,
right.
and they don't want to be risking all their money.
Tim Fan just raised there on the button with Queen 4 of diamonds, and he took down the blinds. Again, the blinds here are 50 and
We
100.
got a bottle of water.
I mean, most of these players, like Ken Berg, win or lose $10,000, that's not going to affect his life, obviously. But he doesn't want to be losing $100,000 or $200,000.
In one hand.
Just put
Yeah,
water
yeah.
and ice into the bucket. So put more ice and water into the
Pocket 10s over here for Don in seat 9.
And then you also
But
Yeah,
Barry's
but
going to come
he's
in and raise. He's going to make it, looks like 350 to go with Queen 6 suited. See how Don's going to play it in the blind out of position with 10s.
You wonder if Barry's getting a little impatient. This is a full ring game. You can be patient and disciplined in this game. You can win 1 or 2 hands all night and make a lot of money.
Tim Fan's going to call with King 7 of hearts. And Kookaroo Chicken there, seat 7. Ken Berg, he's going to call with pocket 4s.
And is Don going to come over the top in the big blind with 10s? Let's see.
Now, Mike has ace deuce of diamonds. He's going to call. And
wow.
Don's pretty short. He probably only has about maybe 3,000 left.
Now, do you just move in here with 10s?
5 players.
Well, he's just going to call.
Well, that's 2 options.
We've got 350 times 5. It's about a $1,750 pot. Here we go to the flop. King, Queen, 6. Look at Barry. He's hit bottom 2 pair.
Wow. Well, you raise garbage and you get lucky. He's got bottom 2 pair. And is he going to bet enough here? And is Tim Fan going to get himself in trouble?
He bets 800 here, Dave. A weak bet. The pot's 2,500, 800 to call. And Tim's going to call.
Well, he puts out the, puts out the bait. Tim
Yeah.
bites.
It's a $3,300 pot now.
Now, oftentimes, a weak bet can signal strength as well.
And Mike is, I was going to say, what is Mike doing over there? He's not going to get involved. And Don just chose to play a little bit slow. He's not going to get involved.
Hey, that's one way to play the hand.
So here we go, 3,300 to the turn. Turn is an 8. And look at this, Tim's picked up the flush draw now, too. He's got top pair and a flush draw. But Barry still has the best hand with 2 pair.
Now, Tim does have a $5,000 chip behind.
That's
so
right.
Both players have a lot of money in here. And how big is the pot right
3,300.
now? 3,300. I think Barry really needs to throw in a nice $2,500, $3,000 bet here.
Nice pot size bet.
Yeah. Put the pressure on this guy.
He's going to bet 1,300. Maybe he's trying to get Tim to move over the top of him or something.
Hey, he's putting the bait out there, see if Tim bites. But Tim's got a draw now.
Pot's now 4,500. The problem for Tim here is that do you necessarily want to move over the top and not see, the river card here, for your price?
Now, for $1,200, I got to tell you, if I have $5,000 behind, no, he's going to raise it.
He is going to raise. And look at that. He's going to make it
1,000 more.
1,000 more. He makes it 1,000 more.
1,000?
And Barry is going to come back over the top again, and he's going to mini raise again for another 1,000 more. And Tim called. And the river is in 8, and Barry gets counterfeited.
Yeah, Barry's got killed there.
He gets counterfeited, and it's going to get checked down, and a little bit of giving back his own medicine that he gave to Kenna James about 3 months ago.
Oh,
Tim
man.
catches it on the river, and that pot, the action on the turn went, bet 1,200, okay, make it 2,200, okay, make it 30, and then raise it another 1,000, Barry Woods, and then Tim called, and we were talking there about a pot of $9,000, and Tim caught it there at the end on the river.
I got to tell you, when you bet the 800 on the flop, okay, fine. I mean, I don't really like the way Barry played the hand, but he bets 800, gets a call. Bets 1,200, gets a little mini raise. Okay, that's when you really got to pound it. Throw the $5,000 in there.
Yeah, he
Put
just,
the pressure
he
on
just
the-
mini raised it with 2 pair there on the turn, Dave.
Because you got to know at that point your opponent has maybe Jack 10,
Right.
maybe your opponent has a king, your Queen 6 is vulnerable. Take the pot down. And if he calls your all in, or he calls your $5,000 raise, and he sucks out on you, well then so be it.
Yep.
9. Can I get 2 pinks?
Oh, man.
$900 raise here by Jean Robert. He's got ace king offsuit, big slit.
2 players.
And we are heads up. Look at seat 8. He brought it in with deuce 7 offsuit. And the flop comes 10-8-3. And I told you, Dave, Mike can play like a wild man sometimes.
I guess so. You're right so
He
far.
raised it on the button. Jean Robert came over the top of him with ace king. And Jean Robert, I believe, is going to lead here for a healthy bet on the flop.
Well, he's thinking about it.
Let's
He
see.
likes to take a long time. Bobby really takes a long time when he has nothing or when he has a set,
Yeah.
It's hard to figure out what he's got.
You don't want to call anymore. That would have been a good
And it goes check, check. Excuse me, the turn's at 10.
Yeah.
2100 that. Would you want to throw away 2100?
So check, check.
Well, now, would your opponent check a 10 behind you? No, Bobby thinks his hand is the best here.
And now he's going to bet 1,100 here into about an $1,800 pot.
Why raise the button with deuce 7 offsuit, and then it gets checked to you, and you check behind? I don't understand the point.
And he folds. And Bobby's
Right?
going to take it down.
What are you raising with deuce 7 offsuit to hit a deuce or a 7?
2 7. I might have had you beat, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, we do.
150.
You know what I have.
Oh, you had ace king? I need 150 for the collection pot.
I'll pay every collection. How about that?
Nice bet on the turn.
The button is moved over to
moves
seat
over here to
1.
seat 9, I believe.
Seat 9, okay, they
Yeah.
made a mistake there.
The way I play that, there's only one hand that makes sense.
Now, I mean, the one thing that was amazing there, in that hand with Barry Woods and Tim Fan,
Two jacks, same
Barry's
way.
got to know that if the guy has a king, there are just so many outs. The board can pair and not be my pair. And obviously, another king could come out, or obviously my opponent has some sort of a kicker. He could hit his kicker.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, at that point, Dave, I mean, we're talking about the pot was about $5,000 or $6,000, and now he just raises 1,000 more. That's all Barry did.
Yeah,
He re-raised 1,000 more.
at that point, once you get
Oh, man.
you get your opponent to bite,
Yeah.
that's when you really want to reel him in and go, okay, now we're going to see something serious. I'm going to re-raise you 5,000 more. Let's
Right.
take it down right now.
Limped around, checked around on the flop. Third club comes on the turn. No one really has anything. Checked around again. The river's a 6, and Yosh and Frank both have the same
The
hand.
board stays the same.
And Frank's going to bet here.
Yeah, Frank's taking a shot at it. You got here
300.
6.
This can, Yosh is even going to get involved here.
I don't think so.
Frank's going to take it down.
You can bet with 10-6. You can't call with 10-6.
Again, Barry was putting the small bets out to get, basically Tim to raise, and then he just kind of pussied out, coming over the back over the top of him on the turn, right?
I mean, maybe he felt like he was, slow playing it a little more so he could get another $3,000 bet on the river. But at that point, you got to realize that you got to go, what is my opponent raising with? Is he raising with a heart draw? Is he raising with king? What is he raising me with?
Right.
And will he call out a big bet? Because oftentimes your opponent will miss.
Right.
You'll make a big bet on the river and you won't get paid off then, where you would have gotten paid off on the turn.
Behind the three of us. Yeah, but the board stays constant.
Buttons moved over here to seat 1.
That's Yosh.
Well, we got to play here 3 hours.
Action is over to Mike, and Mike's going to raise it up with king 3 offsuit. Makes it 600 to go. I mean, that's a big raise there, 600. Kind of the de facto raise of the table is 400. He's making it 600, though.
Yep.
Ed is going to call, smooth call with ace-queen. Frank Mariani's going to call with 8-7 offsuit.
We got
And Ken
four-way
Berg is
action.
going to call with ace-8 at diamond.
Yep.
We got a $2,400 pot, and the flop's queen, jack, jack, and Ed has got top pair. 2 pair here. Queens and jacks, and Ed is going to bet straight out.
He bets 800 here.
Into a $2,400 pot. And he takes it down.
Yep, no one's going to get involved.
Good for Ed there. And look at that big smile from Ed. I got to tell you, he is one classy guy.
Yep. Big smile. He's happy about it. And we're going to take a look at a chip count here. Well, Barry Woods, he's down quite a bit. I think that might not be taking into account
The last hand.
the last hand. I
Yeah.
think he's probably down to about 10,000 now.
And Ed, obviously, up to about 11,000. He's bought in for 10, so he's probably up to about 13 now. Bolande, actually, probably the big winner so far tonight. He's only bought in for 5.
Right. Pocket aces over here for Mike in seat 8. And now he just limps, Dave, that loose aggressive style, and now he's just going to slow play the big hand.
Yeah.
Just doesn't. It's playing backwards, isn't it?
It's almost playing like Corporation Mike tonight. You know?
And he's not going to see it raised. And here we go, 3-way action, $300 pot. He's got the overpair. All hearts with the overpair, and Mike has the ace of hearts.
250.
And Bobby Balon, he's just going to try to make a little bluff bet.
He takes one shot at it.
Yeah, you're third up.
And Mike calls.
I'd imagine Bolande is going to smell a rat and be quiet about
Well,
that.
turns a heart. Now Mike's got the nut flush. Bobby checks. And Mike is going to bet.
There's one of the board for after this game.
I mean, Mike is in, I mean, even though this is the whale night, we're not going to go any more easy on some of these players. He's in limp position there, Dave. And he open limps there with the aces.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Jean Robert, well, one thing you might say, well, Jean Robert's been raising, you know, he's been raising in position a lot, but he was in one of the blinds.
Yeah, well, Blonde also, he was raising, I mean, he did raise those pocket sevens in the blind.
Yeah.
So maybe he thought he could get away with it and get it in there. I'm not sure. I mean, it's odd to be raising with King 3 and
Right.
Deuce 7 and then not raise with pocket aces. I mean, if a good player were to pick up on that habit, basically he'd go, okay, anytime Mike raises, he has garbage.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And this one's going to get limped around. And Frank Mariani, I believe, is raised. It's going to make it
A little pot sweetener, 300 more.
300 more here with 8-9. Mike calls with a little deuce 4 of hearts. And we got 4-way action here.
1, 2, no limit.
Well, there's
8 deuce 4. Couple
Frank's got
clubs.
top pair, but Mike's got bottom 2.
Frank's going to bet.
3,000.
And Mike's going to raise to 3,000. Frank bet, it looks like maybe 800, and Mike made it 3,000 over the top.
Now, Mike's crazy image here, I like the raise, because he might get action.
Time.
Oh, take your time.
Ed's got a gut shot.
Ed's got a wheel draw.
Yeah, not much of anything here. I mean, he really should be an easy fold, shouldn't it?
3 pair, you should call.
So the pot now is 4,700. It's going to come back around to Frank, and it's going to be 3,000 to call. And Frank, I think, has enough to make the call. I mean, can you put 3,000 in here with 8-9?
Well, it's interesting, you know, the way Mike has been playing, he might get action here.
But has he shown down any of those hands, though? I don't think he has. We've seen...
Well, he showed down king. He showed down a king, and he couldn't even beat Mike's 2 pair. He couldn't even beat Frank's 2 pair. Nope.
No, Frank's going to fold.
Flop 2 pair, Frank.
And Mike tells the truth. Flops 2 pair, and he's going to take it down.
Now, I'm not sure if that's any... Why would you show that? Because now you got to wonder, the guy's going, wait a second, okay, so this guy, I now have the information knowing that Mike will call a raise with deuce 4
Came
hearts.
up
Right.
blasting.
You know? That gives me some
Came up
information.
blasting with both guns.
Well, he did limp, and then Frank raised it out of the blind, and he called. But he limped in early with deuce 4 hearts, yeah.
Right, and then called a raise with it. I mean, it is some information out there. Sometimes we're all playing a game, and somebody will assume, like, let's say the flop is 10-5-4, and it's a raised flop, you know, and they'll be like, well, you wouldn't play 5-4 in a raised pot, would you, Dave? You know, they almost assume I wouldn't play it, but sure enough, I would.
Barry Woods has the button here in seat number 4. And Ed's got a jack 4 suited in seat 2. The action's on him in seat 2. He's going to make the limp. Pocket 4's over there for Ken Berg limped in. And Barry Woods is going to limp in here with 10-6 offsuit from the button. 4-way action here. Queen, 3 queen, $400 pot.
Well, Frank Mariani's got the best hand here. No, I'm sorry.
Ken's got pocket 4s.
Yeah.
And it gets checked around. The turn's a king. Ken still has the best hand with pocket 4s.
Why is Barry limping in on a button with 10-6 offsuit?
But it looks like he's going to bet now. He bets 400. And Ken doesn't buy it. He's going to make the call.
2 of you.
Well, Barry could catch a 10, a 6, or a king here. Well, the river's a 5. Ken's going to check here again.
And
And
Barry's got the push
Barry
down.
just gives up.
Yeah. Takes one shot at it.
Yeah. And Kenny's going to take it down there with pocket 4s.
You kind of wonder. Now I know Barry always claims, he says that the this game, he says, I don't care about the money. The money's not a big deal. But you wonder if this game is just out of his comfort zone anyway.
I
because
think
he's
that he's
certainly
played-
playing differently than he normally would play.
I think that he's you know, he's won a lot of money on these Wednesday night games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just wonder here.
I don't know why he played that hand against Tim Fannin that way, but
Well, that one, and then I mean, limping in on the button with 10-6 offsuit. What do you
limp,
want to flop
limp
there?
here. And we got 5-way action.
5 players.
I mean, I'm all for playing things in position, but got to be a limit.
$500 pot. Frank's got king queen in seat 5. He hits top pair. Don's got a flush draw in seat 9, and it's going to get checked around to Frank Mariani, who's going to bet about the pot. See how Don's going to play the deuce 4 of hearts. He's got him over there in seat 9.
And we haven't heard much from Don all day. Let's see what he does.
He's going to call. And we are heads up here, and now the pot is about 1,300. Here we go to the turn. Turns a queen. Frank's got trip queens. Don checks.
And I got to imagine Don is probably going to lay this down here. You don't really want to go for a flush when you got a paired board out there.
There it is. He folds.
Yeah.
Frank, when's the next home game?
And
Frank took care of it.
I think someone just asked Frank, when's the next home game? The next home Lakers game. And he said tomorrow.
John, can I bring a couple girls to the game tomorrow?
I don't have my box tomorrow.
Button moves over here to seat 7.
Talk to Doc.
And Jean Robert just asked Frank Mariani, could he bring a couple of girls to the Lakers game tomorrow? So apparently he has some girls, that he can bring.
Well, yeah, I would assume Bobby might have a girl or two friends.
Hey, Greg.
Why does that shock you?
Hey, how are you?
Bobby's a good-looking guy. He's got money.
Button moves over here to seat 7. Big blind is in Yoshi's hand. We haven't seen him play a hand tonight either. Frank Mariani's got an ace jack in
Yeah, well,
seat
Yoshi's
5.
pretty short. He doesn't have a lot of money behind right now. You wonder if he's kind of playing that short stack and seeing if he can double up or triple up.
Frank's going to make it 300 to go. Tim Fan posted here dead. He's going to make the call in seat 6 with queen 8 offsuit. Wow. And Yoshi's in there now with deuce 3 suited, and we got a $900 pot going to the flop. Frank's in there. He led with ace jack. He's hit second pair. Yoshi has the flush draw, and Yoshi's going to bet right in and all in immediately. He moves all in with the semi bluff. Now
And
Frank
this-
has the ace of spades in his hand.
Yeah, this might work.
$1,500 bet into a $900 pot.
I mean, the only thing you're wondering is why is Yoshi making that play? Why doesn't he want to call?
And Frank is going to call.
And Yoshi needs some help here. Yoshi needs.
We have a $4,000 pot.
Yoshi's got 8 outs.
Turns a 3. He's got a pair now.
Picked up more outs now.
And the river's a spade, and there it is.
Yep, Yoshi doubles up there.
Yep. Going to double through. Picked up some more outs, like you said, on the turn.
You just kind of wonder, you go, why is Yoshi betting so much? The pot was only like $900. Why is he moving all in?
Well, you only have $1,500 left.
Yeah.
Good thing you got a lot of money, Frank. This guy's keep you alive, you know?
Just kind of smelled like a flush draw, didn't it? Obviously, we can see the cards.
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing, sometimes, if you're going to commit yourself, if you hit top pair, like say you had a king, queen or something
Right.
there, you actually might check it once
Right,
and
why not-
expect the razor to bet and
Why
then
not
move
check?
all in.
Yeah, and then exactly.
Yeah,
Get some money out of it at least. I mean, if you have a king there, don't you want to call?
yeah. Button's going to move over there to seat 9.
You're in game, breaking apart over there. You want me to go keep it together, Yoshi?
It's not breaking.
Seat 2's got the big blind.
I'm even right now.
They're 7-handed. Hey,
Barry Woods is going to raise here.
you playing tomorrow?
Looks like 300. He's got king 10 offsuit. Ken Berg's got an ace jack of diamonds over there in seat 7. Tim Fan's going to play. We can't see what Tim has over there in seat 6.
Is there any two cards I want?
Kenny calls. Tim's got an ace rag suited.
Pick any two, Tim.
So we're going to see, and Yoshi's in there with deuce 4 of clubs.
You'll see a lot of these players playing out of the box hands.
Yeah. So here
Trying to
we
mix
go.
it up.
4-way action here, $1,200 pot. Barry was the pre-flop raiser, and he usually will fire at least once.
If he fires here, he should be able to take this down.
And this
Nobody's
time
got a
he's
queen.
not going to fire. You wonder on a Friday night game, would he have fired? And look at this, it gets checked around to Ken Berg, and he's going to bet. He's going to bet $900 into a $1,200 pot.
Well, Ken's got that ace and he's got the diamond. He's just got a backdoor.
Using his image, and Yoshi's not going to get involved.
Well, no limit hold'em. Oftentimes, the first person to put money in the pot is the one who's going to take it home.
Obviously, you don't got nothing, I don't got nothing.
Nice bet there by Ken. He's going to take it down. About a $1,200 pot.
Power of position there. Why not? If you
There
can
it
just
is.
steal 1 or 2 pots, keep yourself afloat,
Right.
and then hit a couple of lucky hands once in a while, you can make some good money in this
Right?
game. You know, if you're only going to play A, B, C, and only bet when you hit your hands, it's going to be tough to make money in no limit hold'em, especially in a game like this.
Button moves over there to Yosh in seat 9. Barry's going to limp in. Yoshi's actually in seat 1. And Frank Mariani's going to raise to 500 with ace 10 offsuit. Everyone looks like they're folding here. Bobby Balan, he's got king 10 of hearts.
500.
Total.
And he's going to call out of position. And Barry's going to muck the ace rag suited. And Jean Robert is dominating
Make
here.
bets like this unless
Here we
you
go.
wanna
About
see the
$1,100 pot.
Makes two of us.
King 9-4. Bobby outflops
Yeah,
Mariani.
dominated, schmominated. There it is. Look at that.
He checks it from up front.
Hates to
Frank
story
checks
out.
right behind him. Turns an ace.
Yeah, but now Bobby's got the nut
Nut
flush draw.
flush draw. And it goes check, check again. And the river's a 5. And Bobby's going to bet 500 here.
I think he thinks he's value betting.
And Frank's going to raise him. He's going to mini raise. He's going to make it 1,000. He checked the turn. Wow. And the pot now
Trying to figure it out.
is
Yeah,
about
so you got some
2,500. It's
insight.
500 for Bobby Balan to call. He's getting 5-1 on his money.
It's a strange play here. I mean, Bobby, I think, was betting, thinking maybe he'd get called by pocket 10s or pocket 8s even,
Right.
something like that. I mean, I don't think he was value betting there. He doesn't think, obviously doesn't think he's going to get called by a. I don't think he thinks he's bluffing there. I mean,
Right.
He's not going to get a better hand out. Very interesting that Frank would actually come over the top with a hand as weak as ace 10.
And he's coming over the top with the mini raise. And again, I mean, the pot is 2,500. It's 500 for Bobby to call here.
I love the play here. I mean, this is one of those times where it really sets up a bluff later on.
Wow, and he lays it down there, Dave. Well, anytime those guys, some of those whales show any strength, they usually have it, and Frank had the best hand right there.
Well, sometimes you got to look at it and go, pot odds, yeah, I know Bobby's getting 5-1 on his money, but sometimes you got to look at it and go, there's no way Frank is coming over the top of me with a hand worse than king 10. And I guess that was Bobby's read. Once again, we are live at the bike, folks. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5,100. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen.
And Frank Mariani's opened this one here with ace rag suited for 500. C2's got a queen jack of clubs. That's Ed. You know he's going to play it on the button.
Man, Mariani, he's really
He's
action
machine
guy,
gunning
huh?
right now.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're heads up. And I believe it's a $1,000 pot. Here we go. And Frank's hit the ace, but Ed's open-ended. He's got a backdoor club draw, and Frank checks the ace, and Ed checks right behind him. Turns a 4. Now Ed's got a flush draw with the open-ended straight
Frank's
draw.
got 2 pair.
And Frank's going to bet. He's going to bet 800, and Ed just calls, and the pot's 2,600 as we go to the river. Ed's got a lot of outs here. Here we go. River's a 6. He misses everything.
Yeah, that's not one of the outs.
Frank's going to bet here again.
And I got to say, oftentimes we see a good play on the turn there is to raise.
I was going to say, from a more advanced player in someone's spot with Ed, he might have raised, but Frank probably would have come over the top of him.
Right, but a lot of times you don't want to raise with a huge draw like that, because if you do get re-raised for another 4,000 or 5,000, well, then suddenly you don't get to see the river.
Right.
And Ed would really be upset, obviously, not being able to see the river with a draw like that.
And Frank was actually pretty short there anyway, so.
Yeah.
But you're right, sometimes when you got such a huge draw, you might think, well, boy, this draw is, more powerful enough to raise here, but you want to see the river card, right?
It's a dilemma. Oftentimes you do want to raise with your draws, but you have to understand that in No Limit, if you do raise with a draw, and your opponent picks up on that and they have a real hand, they might re-raise you so much that it's just not profitable for you to call that anymore. You put yourself in a tough spot.
Seat 9's going to raise here to 300. And Bobby Baland on the button's got pocket kings. And we've got 3 or 4 people in here for 300. And Bobby's going to re-raise here.
Yeah, he's going to make it a nice raise here.
And let's see how much. He's cutting out chips. He's got the original 300 in there. And it looks like he might make it 1,500 to go.
Well, he's got a lot of money there, and he's got kings on the button.
1,300 more, he says.
Yeah. And you wonder if anybody's going to call this. Don has been pretty tight all night.
Yeah, I can't imagine Don's going to call with ace-jack offsuit. Yosh is probably not going to call with ace-10 offsuit. You know who might call? Ed. We know Ed with king-jack. We'll see here.
No, if Ed calls, he's in bad shape.
Don is pretty short. And if he commits he's really thinking about, boy, these guys really, really make, borderline motions, Dave. We see it every week on the Wednesday night game. They'll put their chips out in front. They'll cut them, they'll release them, and they'll try to get a reaction from the player.
I think there's like kind of they both respect each other, and they kind of allow it. They say, okay, you do whatever you want to do, and then you make your move.
And this would, in essence, pretty much put him all in here, Dave. I don't think he has much left.
No, it's just...
He might have a couple hundred left.
This is a clear move in or fold, and obviously we see that Belande is not stealing.
Right.
He actually has a hand. But if Don puts Belande on a steal, maybe he moves in here.
Well, again, this is a classic, play with a restricted buying game, where usually no-limit games aren't played in this. And look at this. He puts him on a steal, and he's going to move all in. He thinks he probably has the best hand
And
here.
that'll probably save Ed.
Or, maybe he thinks he's in a race, and there's enough dead money in there, Dave, to, to gamble it up here. But we can see one of the aces is dead, and Don's in really bad shape here.
I got plenty.
It looks like it's about 600 more, and we're looking at about a $4,000 pot.
Yeah, it's $1,900 for each person, plus like maybe say $900 in dead money. So
Yeah.
what, $4,600?
Yeah. So here we go.
And Don needs one of the last two aces to come out there, or some
Yeah.
sort of straight. He's got obviously in bad shape here.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed actually had one of his jacks, so.
Are you going to call or not?
Yeah. I thought you took your money back too. I took it back and said.
So here we go. We got, like you said, about a $4,500 or a $4,600 pot going to the flop.
The dealer claims that he pulled it in.
And here we go.
In case I said okay.
Queen, Jack, 3. Well, Don's got some more outs now.
Yep.
Oh, wait. Run it. You want to run it twice from here?
From here?
Or 3 times?
I'll run it 3 times.
And they're going to run it 3 times from here, Dave, so the pot's going to be split into 3s. Turn is a 10. More outs, and the river's a 5. Bobby escapes that one.
Yeah, and Bobby's in pretty good shape here because there's only one jack left.
Yep, and he's going to win the second time. Here we go to the turn. Turns a 4. Oh, river's an ace. So Bobby's going to win 2/3 of that pot, and Don's going to win 1/3 of that pot. And again, we do that to kind of hedge the variance. And people might be wondering, well, why did Don just put all the money in? People that aren't necessarily, familiar with restricted buying games, Dave. Well, if he's going to do a rebuy anyway, sometimes when you're at that small of a level, you might just put your money in as a gamble, hoping it's 50-50, and with the dead money in there, it's a positive expectation move, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I actually think that Don was, I think he thought maybe Bobby was stealing.
Yeah.
Because Bobby will do that once in a while. It's one of the reasons
Right.
Bobby gets action.
I lost $250 calling putting in the last 19.
You should have lost the whole 19.
Tell me about
Look at it that way.
I guess me with that. No, it wasn't.
Limp.
Well, I didn't have ace jack.
No, it was 150. I only lost 100.
Ed's going to limp.
Yeah.
Bobby limps. And we're going to see 4-way action here. Tim Fan is in the blind. And it's actually 5-way, so it's a $500 pot. 5 times 100. Here we go to the flop. 9 deuce 7. And Bobby Balan playing 9-4 has hit top pair over there in late position in seat 3. He gets checked to him. He's going to bet. And I don't think anyone can call here.
No, he
Unless
can't.
Don thinks he's stealing again, right?
And Bobby is, once again, the big winner tonight. I mean, we saw 2 weeks ago he won almost 50 grand.
Right?
And tonight, he is probably up over 9,000 already.
Yeah.
Now, Bobby, sometimes we've seen him run up 25, 30,000 and then give it away. Let's see what happens tonight.
Look at this comment here. Again, you can make comments, Dave. Email us. Comments on 2+2. And I know you'll want to respond to this. Augie on 2+2 says, damn, the commentary's bad tonight. They're consistently way off. Why did Yosh move all in there? Doesn't he want to call? Want to
And he was
explain what
quoting
you were
us.
talking about?
And obviously, I was obviously in that case. And we welcome criticism because
Right.
it's great. Obviously, in that case, I was trying to be inside Frank Mariotti's head.
Right.
Thinking, hey, why doesn't Yosh want to call? You
Right.
know, if he had a king, he would want to call.
Right.
So he's moving all in, not wanting a call.
Right.
You know, maybe my ace-jack is good.
Right. There you go.
Obviously, we know that Yosh doesn't want to call with 3 high.
He doesn't want to call, but you were trying to put yourself in Frank's spot, right?
Exactly.
So here we go. 4-way action here. We had a raise pre-flop. King 5-8.
Oh,
Frank's
Kukuru.
open-ended with a backdoor flush draw,
Yeah,
but look
Ken's
at
got-
Ken, top and bottom.
Ken's got top and bottom. Now, Frank's got a nice hand here because he has got the hearts there in case another heart comes out. It's also a rainbow board, so he doesn't have to worry about a flush.
But it gets checked around. Ken trying to trap Dave, as he always does. Turns the deuce. He loves to trap Ken Berg in seat 7. And he's checked the 2 pair.
God, man, I'm only curious now. If he tries to trap, right, and a
Right.
4 comes off there, is he going to lose all his money?
Yes.
Okay.
The answer to that is yes. I just it amazes me every week when I watch him play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's going to bet. And I don't think that Tim is going to get involved.
And
with
you
Ken
got to
here.
say, I mean, who had 6-7 there again?
It was Frank Mariani.
You got to say Frank was thrilled. He got to see a sixth card there and see if he got there for free.
Right.
Oh, no, I know what I had. Ace 4. So,
I mean, we just constantly see him trap.
Yeah.
He never changes it up. He never mixes it up.
I mean, give him credit before he did steal with ace high.
It's unbelievable how he just keeps picking up these hands.
Button's going to move over there to Tim Fan in seat 6.
Well, you said somebody called it. I have to find out what he was doing.
And I can agree. I mean, WR Matty G says, Balan's probably the best no-limit cash player I've seen on Live at the Bike. And he's watched every episode. His game is solid. Now, some people like to make fun of Bobby, but I've actually been pretty impressed with the way that Bobby's played when he's been on the show.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, and from,
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the first time I met him, I thought he was a douchebag. I got to be honest. And no, I got to be honest. I didn't really know him, and I just heard rumors about
Right.
him. And when I saw him come to the show, I wasn't real excited. I was like, oh man, Balande. And I got to tell you, he has proved me completely wrong. He's a class act.
Now look at this. Frank Mariani's raised here to 400 with 3-4 offsuit, and he's going to get called here by 7 people, and we've got a $2,800 pot, 7 times 400.
And they all have the same hand almost.
Ace 6 king, and look at Ed playing ace rag, hits top and bottom for 2 pair.
Yeah, but he had the best hand. I mean, look at it.
And he's going to bet out. He's going to bet 800. Nobody has hearts. No one really has a draw here.
Now, sometimes when these pots get really big, though, it kind of lures people in because the pot is so big they don't want to let it go.
Well, he's made a pretty weak bet. He's bet 800 into a $2,800 pot.
And is Tim going to call with second pair? He is real bad shape here. Tim would need running sevens.
He's not going to call. And there it is. Ed's going to take it down playing ace rag.
Wow, the pot's 2,800. He bets what?
800.
He bets 30% of the pot and he takes it down.
Yep.
Amazing.
If it was one, I would.
Now, I'll say Balande is a real class act. He's a really, really nice guy. I got to talk to him for a while. And all the rumors I had heard, he disproved. But in terms of his game, I have seen him implode.
Yep.
Hopefully, he won't for tonight for his
And
sake.
if it's I'll play longer if he wants.
Button moves over there to seat 7. And that is Ken Bird. And Dave, again, I'm probably going to be a little bit more familiar with the players than you are, since this is one of the first times you've done this game on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I've only done it a couple of times.
Right.
So.
And
Now, I'm fortunate enough to have played with a couple of these players,
Right.
but
the reason why I say that is, again, referring to seat 7. It just absolutely amazes me.
yeah.
Limped around here. And here we go. Jack, deuce, 10. And actually, it was brought in for $200.
So it's kind of a mini little raise. So we've got
Yeah.
about a $1,400 pot now.
And look at this. Don's going to come out and bet here with Jack 3 into a $1,000 pot.
Now, once again, Ed here has a backdoor flush draw, and he is open-ended.
And Ed's going to move immediately all in with the weak Jack here. Don's going to move all in here in seat 9 with the weak Jack.
But he only has, like, what, maybe $600?
Yeah. Well, it's actually about $1,000, and Ed's going to call. So the pot's now 3,000. It's about 1,000 to call. Now Mike in seat 8, we call him Action Mike. He's got a Jack 2 with a weak kicker.
Yeah, it's an easy call for Ed, though, because the pot is laying him more than 2-1, and he's got an open-ended straight draw, plus he's got the backdoor flush draw. And Mike's got to be able to get away from his hand here. You know, one player's all in, and you get a call. How can you overcall?
Well, here we go. He's got the best hand. And the pot now is about $4,000. The turn's a queen, and Ed's got top pair.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, it's just Ed had so many outs there.
Mike checks, and Ed's going to bet on the side.
Good for him.
Cousin.
And now what does Mike do with Jack 7? I mean, come on.
He's going to bet $1,200 into a $4,000 pot
I mean,
on the side.
I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, yeah, you have the best hand there, but Jack 7, when the guy goes all in and you get a caller, how do you overcall that?
And Mike would have to, spike a 7 here to win?
Yeah, he's in
7
terrible
or the
shape.
case Jack, right?
I mean, he's in terrible, terrible shape.
He's got 4 outs here if he makes this call against Ed.
I mean, Ed has the best hand and the best draw.
why would you chase me out so you can give Don the money? All right, you got it.
And there it is.
That's what he says. Why would you chase me out? No, he's got the best hand.
Ed needs to dodge the case Jack or a 3 here, and here we go. The river's a 10, and Ed's going to take it down there with queens up.
question there by Mike. I mean, Mike asked that question as if it was a tournament, like there was a goal to knock somebody out.
Well, if you think you have the best hand on the side, why are you going to give somebody a free ride? I mean,
Of course.
the question always pops up from people. Why are you
But-
betting on the side?
In a tournament, it makes more sense if your hand isn't, really good. Like in that case, you don't have a straight or a set or something like that. Oftentimes, you will check it down because you want to knock somebody out
Right.
and get that much closer to the money,
Right.
or that much closer to the real money. Say you're at the final table, right?
Yeah.
But in a cash game, I'm sorry, we're not playing partners here. I don't really care if Don wins the money or not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do what's right for my game.
Hold on, let's go, let's go.
2000. 2000 C9.
Button's going to move over here to seat 8, and we have another collection pot.
I got the Lakers -6. Oh, you got it. 1,000, no juice. No, you let me juice.
And seat 9 is going to rebuy here only for 2,000, Dave. And
Kind of
that's
a short
real
buy.
short. I mean, that is, 20 times the big blind? He probably got, one move here, right?
Yeah, I don't really understand the point of that. With when the blinds, like 3 or 4 weeks ago when I played this game, the blinds were 25-50.
Right.
It makes a little more sense. But the blinds are 50-100.
We had a raise here by seat 2. That's on Ed. He made it 400 to go. He's got big slick suited. And Frank Mariani's going to call with Queen 9. And look at Yosh wanna always play with Ed. He's going to call on the blind with 9-7. Here we go, $1,200 pot. King Jack 3. Ed's got top pair. And he's going to bet.
Yeah, that's right. Give him hell, Ed.
And no one's got any part of that.
I got to tell you, I mean, I try to be objective, but I can't. I like Ed. He's just such a good guy.
Yeah.
Now, I got to tell you, if I only have $2,000, I'm not sure why I'd want to buy in this game for only $2,000. To me, I mean, you got to buy in minimum at least $5,000.
Right.
If I have $2,000 on me, I'll go play the 10-20 game. We've got a 10-20 no limit game.
Absolutely. And here we go. We look at another chip count here. Well, look at Ed. It's up to 14,000 plus whatever you just won that hand. Probably 15,000 now.
Yeah, he's back to even now.
And Tim is up pretty big, as well as Jean Robert.
Yeah.
Tim, when he won that hand against Barry,
Yeah.
and Jean Robert's up big here too.
Now Tim is rebought as well, so he's up about 3,500 for the night. Now Belande, he's only bought him for 5,000, so he's up a good 7,000 on the night.
Yep.
And I want to say Barry's probably in for 15, so he's probably down 4.
Button's going to move over here to seat 9.
Collection. Is that okay?
Button has moved over to seat 9. Get a little mini raise from, I want to say, Frank Mariani, $200.
Yep, he's got 6-7 suited, and Tim Fan's going to call here with King Queen.
And Mike's going to call it Ace Jack off suit.
I think did Mike just call or did he re-raise there? Seat 8. He did re-raise there.
Yeah, he did. Looks like he re-raised it
Yeah.
up to 600
Yeah.
and gets 2 callers. The pot's now 1,800. The blind's about $2,000.
And look at this. He flops trip jacks, and Frank's got a flush draw. It's an $1,800 pot.
Mike actually has Ace Jack.
Ace
off.
Jack, not Ace 7. Yeah. Now let's see what Frank is going to do here. So
Now
Mike's got trip jacks.
Now the problem with this hand,
Frank's going to bet 700 here. Tim's got a gut shot to the 10.
plus overcards.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible flop for Tim because Tim also has the king of hearts.
Tim's going to call, and the pot now is 3,200 going to Mike. It's a $700 bet. Is he going to pop it up here with this coordinated board?
I think you need to. I mean, I think with a better and a caller, I think you just the pot is just too the flop is too coordinated just to smooth call this.
But I just had a feeling that he was going to call. He's playing backwards tonight, Dave.
Well, let's see what
And
happens.
that's unbelievable. Here we go to the turn. The turn is a 6.
Well, that's a safeguard there.
Yep.
That does not help Frank's hand.
And Frank's going to continue to bet, and he's going to actually move all in, and this is probably going to be an easy call here for Mike. Looks like a $2,000
Oh, obviously.
all in here. Looks like 2,100, and Mike calls, and here we go to the river. The river's an ace. Mike fills up.
Yeah.
And Ace Jack is going to take down Dave about a $7,500 to $8,000 pot.
Now, it was funny. I mean, I was actually saying that it wasn't a bad flop for, say, Tim's hand with King Queen. Now, obviously, if Tim knew what Mike had, it's an awful flop. for him.
Right, right.
But without knowing that, it's not a terrible flop. And Frank is going to rebuy there. And just like that, Mike wins a pretty big pot. I
Yeah,
want to say.
$7,500. Again, I told you, Dave, I played with the guy before, and you said you played with him before. Sometimes I wonder what he's doing.
Sometimes it's hard to, sometimes when you play with somebody, it's hard to know exactly how they're playing because obviously we don't see every hand.
Right.
But being in this room, obviously, we get to see all the hands.
Right. Tim Fan's going to raise here. Ace 10. He's going to make it 400 to go. And it looks like probably everyone's going to fold here, I'd imagine.
Once again, you are watching live at the bike. You're watching one of the biggest no-limit cash games you'll ever see here. This is 5,100 blinds, folks.
Yep.
Live cash game. I'm David Tuckman. I'm here with Bart Hansen.
And Tim Fan's going to take it down. I want to point out to all of our loyal Live the Bike viewers and other people that are catching this show for the first time, we want to point you to a poll that's been started by Bluff Magazine. You can go to bluffmagazine.com/reader's choice. And this is a poll that asks all kinds of questions about what your favorite poker rooms are and such. There's also a question about what your favorite poker broadcast is and best poker commentary. And I want to tell you, and I'll get to this after the scan, Dave. Again, bluffmagazine.com/reader's choice. Now, C8's going to raise here to 400. Mike's got ace-jack offsuit.
And I think Belande's going to call this with ace-jack.
He's got
small
the same
blind.
hand.
No,
he's not going to call.
Wow.
But Ken limped in with queen-jack in seat 7.
I tell you, Bobby's really brought his A game today.
That's true.
Is she a dog?
And here we go. Two-way action. King deuce 5. It misses Ken.
I imagine Mike's going to continue here and take this down.
And he is going to take it down. So getting back to the Bluff Magazine Reader's Choice poll, you can go there, and they ask all kinds of questions. It's basically a poll. But questions 16 and 17, best poker broadcast and best poker commentary. Dave, they have just about everyone that's on television, with the exception of us. They don't have Live the Bike in the Dropbox, and they don't have Bart Hansen and David Tuckman in the Dropbox. Now you can
What are you angling at?
You can go and click on Other and write our names in as a write-in, and we want you to do that. But anyone out there that really cares about the show, how about emailing Bluff and saying, there's another alternative here. Why aren't these guys one of the options? So check it out, and if you have the feeling, go ahead and vote for us. We want you to vote for us, and, email Bluff and say, add these guys to your selections.
There you go. Little mini raise here. Actually, a $400 raise from Tim Fan with ace-king.
Yep.
And he gets called in a couple of spots. Mike's going to call him with ace-4 of diamonds. Ed's going to call it ace-6 of hearts. And Frank Mariano's going to call queen-9 of clubs. We go four-handed here.
$1,600, 4x4. Here we go. 10-9-6 with a couple of diamonds. Mike's got the nut flush draw in seat 8.
Yeah, Frank's got the best hand here, though, with queen-9. He's got backdoor clubs.
And Tim checked the ace-king.
Well, you know what? When you bet with ace-king,
right,
and a board, and you get called in 3 spots, that board, it missed me completely.
Now, Ed, it got checked to Ed. He bet here in position. He bet about 600. Frank calls, and Tim calls with the ace-king. And is Mikey check raise? He's going to check raise here with the nut flush draw.
And Tim called also. Wow.
Yeah.
I got to say, I like the bet by Ed, though.
He's going to make it 2,500 to go here. The pot is now 6,000. 2,500 to call. It was 600 and a call in 2 other spots. And now Mike makes it 2,000 more to go. Again, about a $6,000 pot. 2,000 to call.
Big semi-bluff by Mike here. And it's a good bet. I mean, but he doesn't really want to see the next card. Think about it. He only has 8 outs.
And we know Ed, Dave, like the back of our hand. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility if he called there, but he did fold. And obviously, Tim is going to fold here. And there's Mike's going to take it down there with the semi-bluff.
The power of the semi-bluff there, raising with your draws.
Yeah. And one of the things that you can actually vote for, Dave, on that poll there at bluffmagazine.com/reader's choice is the best poker forum. And I believe that 2+2 is one of the choices. I believe one of the choices.
So if you like us and you like the show, we'd appreciate you do that. If you don't like us, feel free to email us and let us know how much you hate us.
Yep.
No, bluff night here on Friday night. They had it bluff night.
They had a
The
bluff
best or
night.
greatest bluff.
We try to keep the show as interactive as possible. That's the wonderful thing about Live at the Bike. We will interact you through your live threads. We will interact with you through your emails.
You won against
Get a little mini raise here to 300 by Bobby Belande with Queen Jack's offsuit. Both black, but offsuit.
Yeah, it cost
And
them
Barry's going to call. And I
Queen
apologize,
Jack.
actually, Bobby had ace-6 there.
Yeah.
And we got 4 ways times 300. We got a $1,200 pot.
All right, here we go. See the flop. Ace, ace 10, and ace 6 over there for Belland. He's got trip aces.
Yeah, is Frank going to get himself in trouble here?
And Blonde's going to bet right into the trips. And anyone that doesn't know our show, Dave, we really are big proponents of betting your hands.
I
A lot
gotta-
of people think that no-limit cash
Yeah.
games are a big trap game, but
You know what? Ace-6 is not a trap hand here.
not really, no.
Bobby doesn't want to get called in this one. You know what I mean? It's one of those because if I get called, he's got a 6 kicker. You know, that's a...
I got to tell you, if Ken Berg was in the hand and he check called me, I knew I'd be dead right
Yeah.
now on the flop. I would know
Exactly. And you,
it. Yeah.
if he gets called here by a good player, you know, you got to go, oh, man,
Yeah.
my 6 kicker's going to kill me.
Straight, 7, 8.
Button's going to move over to seat 5. And again, if somebody wants to put that up in the thread, that URL, bluffmagazine.com/reader's choice. Vote for us. You can vote for best forum. You can vote for us as a write-in. And we would appreciate, you know, even if we could just get a handful of emails emailing Bluff saying, why don't you put these guys in with, you know, best poker broadcast and, you know,
I had
commentators.
a hand I didn't mind.
Ed's going to raise here. 6-7 a club.
Do they have
300.
worse poker commentary? So I was saying, hey, if you think we're the worst, you can vote for us there, too.
So Ed's made it 300 to go here.
No, Frank's called
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
And we're heads up here. Ed against Frank Mariani.
called had I known that.
Here we go. Ed's got a little suited connector. Frank's flopped the flush draw here. King, king, 10. And Ed's going to bet. He's going
Now,
to...
is Frank going to raise this with the flush draw, or is he just going to call?
Looks like it was about an $800 bet. He's just going to make the call on the button. Here we go to the turn. Turn is a 9. Now Ed has a flush draw.
Yeah, look, it's flush draw versus flush draw, but Frank's jack high is the best hand.
Ed checks, and Frank's going to bet. He's going to bet 15-20, and that's almost all of his chips
Now, I
here.
got to tell you, I love the bet by Ed on the flop, but now you pick up the draw on the turn. Why not put a little blocker bet in there? Because now you put yourself in a tough spot where you checked it. Frank has moved in pretty much, and now you got to call that big bet.
Well,
You know, I mean, if Ed were to throw in a little $800 bet on the turn, he might see the river.
Dave, the pot, and it's just a $2,000 pot. The pot's $4,200. It's $2,000 to call. Ed really doesn't have the pot odds to go for this, especially
No.
when Frank doesn't have money behind.
I mean, Ed needed to continue betting,
But
especially
he's
when
going to
he picked
make the
draw.
call. We know Ed, and he's going to make the call. And he could actually catch a 6 or 7 here and still be good with clubs as well.
Right, right.
And here we go to the river. And the river is a 9, but Frank's jack's going to play if we
Yep.
see it in a showdown.
I don't think Frank's got enough money to get away from. How much money does Frank have?
600.
Frank only has 600.
And Ed's betting it.
Ed's going to bet the river, and Frank folds.
Wow.
There it is. Wow, what a bet there by Ed. And you got to, I mean, the funny thing about that, Dave, is the pot is 6,200. Ed bets 600, and Frank folds.
Well, you know what? Ed's
600 to win 6,200. Ed totally missed his hand, and Frank's hand was the best hand.
You know, it was funny there. It's one of those times where Frank left himself with just enough money to get bluffed out. You know what I mean? Just enough money to get bluffed out.
Wow.
And you can't fault him for laying it down. I mean, you can fault him on the bet. Maybe he should have moved in on the turn. Because then he couldn't get bluffed out.
I guess he just figured there's just nothing there.
Well, how can I can't... How can Jack High be good?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And seat 7's posting back in action here.
And Button?
And the button is going to be
Button's
over there
over
in
Team
seat
Fan.
6.
Yeah, Tim Fan's got it.
Yep. And it's limped around here. 1, 6, and 7 are in the hand.
Yeah, we got Tim Fan, Yosh,
7 deuce
and Ken
straight.
Berg. And I think everybody's missed this flop pretty much.
Well, I think that that Ken's got top pair, and he's going to bet.
Oh, does he? Okay, thank you.
There you go. And he's going to take it down.
Flop was 7-3 deuce rainbow.
So Ed with the bluff on the river bluffs Frank Mariotti out of the pot.
Now, I mean, it worked out okay for Ed, but let's say if Ed wants to price himself in there, let's say he throws out a $1,000 bet on the turn, right? And then on the river throws another $1,000 in, the same thing happens.
Mike, it's your small blind.
But he kind of prices in his draw.
Right. Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Button's moved over there to Ken Berg.
Is he coming?
And Tim Fan's going to raise here in late position. He's got King 9 in the cutoff. And he is going to take it down. There it is. Button moves over there to Mike in seat 8. And it's been, a rock and roll first hour of Live at the Bike so far, Dave.
Well, with
And
this lineup, how could it not be?
We do mostly no-limit cash games. Monday nights is our limit night. And check out Friday, which is an unrestricted 10-20 no-limit game. Thursdays is our 5-10 unrestricted game. So if you ever haven't seen Live at the Bike, check it out.
Yeah.
Seat 6 is going to raise here to 400. He's got Tim Fan. He's got King Jack offsuit.
Parry lays it down.
And that's... and look at that. I guess Ken Berg called with the King Jack. Excuse me. Tim's got King Deuce.
But now Tim is probably going to continue, I would assume, and Ken will probably fold, right?
Well, there you go.
Look at this. What a prognosticator.
So Tim opened it up there. He's usually a pretty tight player, Tim Fan. He doesn't mix it up a whole lot.
Yeah, once in a while you mix it up, you win a pot, and that keeps you afloat.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's great. Also, Live at the Bike, we try to cater to everybody.
Yeah.
If you're a small-time no-limit player, you can watch our $200 game or our 3 to 5 game. If you're a big-time player, you can watch this game.
Right.
If you just want to watch for entertainment, you can watch any game.
Yep. Now, I actually misspoke, Dave, earlier on. The time collection, I think we had a collection pot a couple of hands ago, is actually $15 per half an hour. We got an email here from, or I think it was on the thread, and it is $15 per half hour.
11.
Wow. Now Ken Berg brought this one in for a raise with Ace King, and Mike re-raised with pocket deuces to I think it was 1,000. And Ken's going to make the call.
Well, Mike's ahead, and you know what? Ken's only going to hit this flop 1 out of 3 times.
And he might check fold here if he misses it. Let's see how this plays out. Queen 8-6. It's about a $2,200 pot. Ken's going to check.
And Mike's got position on him, right?
But Mike checks right behind him. Turn is a 3.
How do you check that?
Check again. And the river's a 7.
And I'm assuming it's going to check again.
But no, Ken's going to bet, but Mike's going to call. Mike's going to call, and that was about a $1,000 bet there at the end, and Mike takes it down there with the pocket deuce. Hey, do you know what I'm saying about how I'm just a lot of times really not a huge fan of the way that Mike plays?
Hey, you know, he might not be a big fan, but I'm not saying he's obviously gambling. Deuces are very vulnerable to a lot of cards, but he obviously induced a bluff and got an extra $1,000 out of Ken Berg. If he bets the flop, he probably takes it down right there, right?
Well, would you rather keep check to inducing a bluff and giving the guy free cards to hit an ace or a king or some card that's going to be a pair?
Personally, I would have rather bet the flop and take it down right there with my deuces.
And the other thing, too, you've got to understand is that he can only beat a total bluff on the river, right? Absolutely nothing else he can beat.
Right.
He's got bottom pair. Bottom, the smallest of pairs.
I just want to give him credit where credit's due. I want to, he obviously did induce the bluff. Made an extra 1,000 out of Ken Berg.
We had a raise here. Seat 3 raised to 200 here. 7 deuce off, 8 deuce off suit, looks like. And Frank's all in, but he's all in for short. And Jean Robert might be forced to call here, because I think Frank's only in for another 300 more. He's got a total of 450, and Jean Robert's already committed 200, so the pot is 650.
Actually, 750 with the blind, too, right?
Yeah, so it's only another 200 to call. He's getting about 3.5 to 1 here, right?
Yeah,
almost 4 to 1.
Unless Frank has an overpair, he almost has to call us. And in this case, he's getting the odds with Frank only having King Jack here.
Yeah.
Bobby should call us.
You will sometimes see this in tournaments. This is kind of a tournament situation here. It's usually the other way around. Somebody's stealing on the short end in late position, and you're in the blind with garbage, right?
Yeah.
You've got to call for pot odds here. He says he's not even getting 3 to 1 on his money, but I think he is, and he's going to make the call. It might have been 300 more. And
300 more, okay.
He is definitely, though, he has made the right call here.
Oh,
And look at this, he's ahead.
Yep, he's outflopped him.
Ace, deuce, 3. Turn is a 10. Frank needs a king,
Or a queen, or a jack.
or a queen, or a jack, and the river is an 8. And look at this, deuce 8 is going to take it down.
That's about $1,100 pot.
And Jean Robert had to show that hand down, so he's going to mix it up a little bit here. People are going to see raised with 8 deuce from late position.
Yeah, I think everybody knows how Bobby plays. So, kind of wonder.
I'm not calling it. I wasn't priced in properly. I promise you I wasn't calling.
You act like you know what you're doing.
Button has moved over to seat 5. Tim Fan in the small blind, $50. Ken Berg in the big blind, $100. Mike there in seat 8 is under the gun, first to act.
Are you sure, Yosh?
And he's going to throw it away. And Yosh has been waiting for a real hand all day, and he finally gets one. He has pocket jacks. Let's see what he does. And he makes it 300 to go. Oh, wow. And Barry's going to call this raise with king 8 of hearts. And Frank calls also with queen jack, and that's going to bring in Tim Fan with 5-3. And we're going to see it four ways here. $1,200 pot. Flop is all spades there, folks. 7, 8, 10. And I want to say Yosh still has the best hand with an overpair. Tim is the only player with a spade in his hand, though. Boy, is that an ugly flop for Yosh. But after checking once, I think Yosh thinks his hand is probably the best hand. The deuce of hearts certainly didn't change anything. And looks like he's going to take this down. You wonder, why is Barry in there with king 8 of hearts? He calls Yosh in position. Yosh checks to him. Why not take a shot at it? He hits second pair.
We'll lay down for you. We'll lay down.
5-high, what's good?
Yep.
I mean, use your position. Why not? Button moves over to seat 6. Yosh is under the gun. He's first to act. We got a long board, folks. A lot of players want to get into this game. Every Wednesday, we have our big game here at the Bicycle Casino. And Bobby Belande is going to raise it up to 350 with ace-7 of spades. Gets called by Barry. Barry's got 5-4 of hearts. And once again, he's in position on Bobby. Let's see if he can use his position this time. And Mike's going to call also with king 10, and we've got three-handed. Pot's about $1,100.
So here we go to the flop, and it comes out 9-7-6. Bobby's got the best hand here with ace-7.
But Mike's going to bet right out.
He bets 600, and let's see what Bob's going to do here. He's going to call.
And is Barry going to make a move? Nope, he's just going to call.
He's going to call. Well, if the 8 comes, Mike's going to have a straight here. I mean, Barry's open-ended, but it's not really valuable.
No, it's only if the 3 hits, obviously.
And the turn is a 9, and
Well,
maybe Bobby's going to still think he's got the best hand here, obviously.
Well, that obviously makes his hand even stronger there. He's now got 2 pair. The likelihood of somebody else having a 9 is very slim.
And Mike checks, and Bobby's going to bet here 1,200.
Now, you wonder if Barry calls this. I don't think Mike can call.
Actually,
No
this
matter
would be
what
a
I don't think Mike
big
can
mistake for Barry to call here. I mean, maybe if he raised.
Yeah, exactly. You got to realize the value. The 8 is obviously not a valuable hot straight there.
And Mike is going to raise on a stone-cold bluff. He's got a gut shot with overcards, and he's going to make it I think it's only 1,000 more here, Dave. 1,200 more here. 1,200
And you
more.
wonder, is he trying to represent the 9 here, obviously?
Well, it's 1,200 more, or for an overpair, right? 1,200 more here. And Bobby's not buying it. He is going to, let's see here. He put out a lot of chips. Did he make a re-raise? He re-raised there.
Yeah, he doesn't buy it. I mean, I think Mike is trying to represent the 9 here. Overpair wouldn't really make sense the way he played it.
Yep.
A 9 is kind of like, okay, I'm not really scared.
Yeah.
But but Bobby doesn't buy it.
I thought you raised it 12 and I raised it back 12.
Yeah, and Bobby said it.
Put up 24 out there.
Yep, and it was a mini raise.
And they keep mini raising back and forth.
Yeah.
Here. And is Mike going to call this now?
So we had a check raise mini raise by Mike.
He bet 1,200.
Here we go. This is the
He
Yosh.
put in 2,000.
I thought I put in 2,400.
Okay, well, we know it's about, okay.
He had 2,000.
2,000.
So he had half the
More than half.
I raised.
Wait, all right. Let's explain what's going on here.
And look at this, though. Mike said I
This
raised.
is
You're faking a raise. Everyone's faking a raise.
Bobby wanted to raise to 2,400, but he only put
2,000 in.
2,000 in. So they're trying to discuss can he raise or not.
Right.
And now Mike, out of turn, says, I'm going to re-raise again.
He didn't say anything.
You don't have to say what I wanted to do. I put in the money.
This is what happened.
And it's funny, both players just going back and forth with each other. Neither player has a great hand, but Bobby's got him dominated here.
He was re-raising. But he thought he put in 24.
He said he wasn't re-raised.
No, he said it was
Well, now the issue is Bobby said he didn't say anything. He just put in 2,000. So what does that constitute? Usually that means it's just a call, right? If you
Well,
put
to
too
me,
much
if,
in.
well, if you put too much in, but it's more than half of it, the raise should stand. If it's less than half, if it, let's say it was $1,800 or less, it would not be a raise. But since it's over, you put 2/3 of the raise in there. I would think that you'd have to you'd force him to put the extra 400 in.
He makes it 1,200. He puts it 19. Right. In a limit game, that's a raise.
Right, but
they
have to
But if he, but if he wants to honor it,
But in no limit, right, it's 100%. We've had this discussion before. In
Well, it's
limit-
100% in terms of having the ability to
Right,
re-raise.
right. So well, I guess it was just a call, and the river's a 5. So Mike wasn't able to re-raise. And Mike checks now, and Bobby checks right behind him. And that's unbelievable the way that hand played out.
Yep.
Bobby's going to take it down with ace-7. Let's go over that action again here. We had a check by Mike on the turn. Bobby bet 1,200. Mike check raise made it 2,400 straight. Bobby threw 1,900 in there, which was not constituted as a raise by the floor man. It was just a call. Mike wanted to raise again on a turn, didn't get to because Bobby just called, and then Mike just checked the river down. Bobby
Yeah.
takes it down there with ace-7. Wow.
Is this yours?
And we're getting a word here from the floor man. The reason why it wasn't a raise is because he did not declare a raise.
Verbally.
And you have to put in no limit. I still think you have to put in the raise amount, 100%.
Obviously, yeah.
And I think you're going to kind of overhear Tim Fan saying, well, in limit, it's 50%. And that's right, but no limit, there are different rules.
It's 100% there.
Right.
Okay. That's an interesting play there. The odd thing is that Mike would have re-raised him, and you wonder,
good chance I would have folded.
had Bobby,
And that's what he just said. Good chance I would have folded.
had Bobby actually gotten that $1,200
Right.
raise in there, and Mike was able to throw another raise it there,
Yeah.
does Bobby throw it away?
Yeah.
Means what Yosh said. It means Yosh is an authority on
Yosh
who
is
knows
the
how to play
boss
no
of
limit.
us.
Yosh is our
I
boss.
have an opinion.
Interesting to play that, but Mike was going to raise the turn, and then I guess in the river he just said, forget it, it's not worth it anymore.
Boss of bosses. Thank you.
You know, why not throw a $3,000 bet out there if you think the guy's weak? If that's your read.
Boss of bosses.
You like that, huh? This is the king of the triad. I have an opinion.
And Bobby takes down another pot.
Here we go. Four-way action here. 10-8 deuce with a couple of diamonds. And Ed's going to come out and bet here. He bets 600 with a deuce. Ken has the best hand here, it looks like. Oh, Yosh does with a pair of 8s. Ken folds, and let's see what Yosh is going to do here. Now, Yosh loves to play against Ed. But he's not going to play.
I gotta pay 150 out of this.
No, you don't.
And that was a collection pot there, which might have influenced why Yosh wasn't going to play. Dave, it's funny, we're reading the 2+2 thread, and some comments regarding that Bluff magazine poll. Okay, people say, well, you shouldn't pimp yourself. That's fine. We're just bringing it up to people. But we shouldn't be on the list as commentators, but the show should be on the list.
Now,
As we
interesting,
see
another chip count here.
chip
Ed,
count.
all the way up to $20,000,
Yeah.
really doing well. Bobby Belande, probably the big winner for the night. He's only in for $5,000, up over $11,000.
Yep.
Mike doing pretty well now. Tim Fan up a little bit. Barry probably down $5,000, and Yosh and Don are pulling up the rear. Actually, Don is gone.
Yep. And we have a raise here by C3. He's going to make it 250 to go with the gap-suited connector. Now, Ed's in the big blind with ace-queen. He's going to at least call there. And the button called Mike with pocket 4s.
Let's make it 800.
And we're playing little musical chairs here. Seat 1, that's Yosh's got king 10. He's going to make the call. And we are going to see four-way action here, I believe. Now, Ed is going to re-raise here out of the blind. He made it 800 more. Bobby calls, Mike calls, And if Yosh calls, we get a $3,200 pot here going to the flop, and here we go.
Yosh can't resist it. The pot's too big.
8 times 400. Ed's the pre-flop re-raiser. Here we go to the flop. Bobby calls for a 7, but Ed hits top pair. But Yosh is open-ended.
And you know why Bobby obviously called for a 7. He needs a 7 there to make any straight.
Right. And let's see is Yosh going to make a push here again like he did before with the semi-bluff? It's a $3,200 pot, and he's going to move all in. And we know Ed, he's not going anywhere.
Nah.
Now let's see. Now what's proper for Ed to do here, Dave? Raise? He's got the ace-queen. He's got 2 people behind him.
I don't think you need to re-raise this. The bet is big enough where it's going to stand by its own.
You don't have to put it in.
You know what I mean?
$2,600 bet here, and Ed calls.
You know, what are you trying to raise out? You know, what are you going to raise out a set? It's not going to work. You're not going to raise out 2 pair.
We've got an $8,500 pot here. Turn is an ace, and Yosh makes it. Ed's got a redraw to a full house, but it doesn't come. Yosh is going to take it down there with the ace-high straight. Wow.
Man, I tell you, Yosh is just living a blessed life here. I mean, he moves all in on 2 draws. He's behind both times, and both times he hits it.
Right. So $8,500 pot.
And Yosh suddenly, he's now quadrupled up. He only had $2,000 when the show pretty much started.
Right.
He's now up to $8,500.
But anyways, as I was saying on in the side note about that poll, Dave, someone's saying, well, the show should be on there, but not the commentators.
Well, hey,
why not?
Hey, Bart, you can't take it personal. That's a fair assessment. Somebody might love the show, but mute you. But that's
I always
okay.
look at it as though you might as well you don't have to vote for us, but we might as well be on the ballot if we're out there, right?
Fair enough.
I
fair
always
enough.
thought about that way in politics,
Yeah.
too. You know, everyone has a right to be on the ballot.
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, everybody's available. We put ourselves out there. Obviously, we sit here and we criticize people and we give people praise.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd rather be criticized than ignored.
Right.
So, feel free.
We had a raise here by seat 8. He made it 250 to go here. That was by, I believe, Mike, but we can't see
Amir wants that seat.
his cards.
Donna.
He's got ace-8 offsuit. So we got 4-way action here. It's about a $1,000 pot. Here
Kind of
we
a
go.
mini raise. And you notice how Mike raises different amounts based on what he has.
3, 4, 5. Look at the flop for Ed. He's got an open-ended straight draw and a flush draw.
The Ed's hand's pretty big here.
And Mike's going to bet. He bets 800.
Kind of a continuation bet here.
Now, the only thing with Ed is, you know, he's gotten better over the months he's played, but he still isn't as advanced to raise with his draws, and he's just going to call.
Obviously.
Pot's now 2,600 as we go to the
Ed's got a lot of outs here.
turns a queen.
That's not one of them here.
Ed checks. And Mike's going to check right behind
Ed
him.
needs a king, a 6, an ace, or...
And the river is an 8, and Mike makes a pair now. And it's just going to get checked down.
Call Hassan and get Hassan instead of Amir. That's not fair.
There it
Call
is.
Hassan, he's first
I
up
like
after
your
me.
hand on the flop.
Mike says he likes his hand in the flop, but it doesn't make a difference whose hand you like, 'cause he's
Right.
taking the chips.
There it is. Again,
One
you
of the
can-
reasons to raise with your draws, obviously. I think Ed probably could have taken control of that pot and probably won it.
Right.
You know, if he raises the turn, he raises the flop, you know, you never know, Mike might call.
Right.
But then if he follows through and bets on the turn, I don't know if Mike can call that then.
Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments,
Tell you
suggestions.
what. I'm not betting on the draw anymore. I'm letting you guys know. I don't think I can draw.
250 here, I believe. Tim Fan brought it in, actually, for 200. Seat 6.
Now, is it a live straddle?
I think it might be a straddle here.
That's kind of a weird raise,
Yeah,
isn't
because
it?
he's got king 4 off suit, too.
Yeah, king 4 suit under the
Yeah.
gun. I mean, I think it's a straddle. Yeah. And there we go.
Yeah, it is a straddle. So it's limped around.
So this hand actually makes it a $200 no limit game.
5 times 200, it's a $1,000 pot. Actually, 6 times 200. Ace 310 rainbow,
Two
and
pair.
John Roberts got top and bottom, and he's going to come out and he's going to bet. He bets 1,200, little over the size of the pot.
Hey, give John Robert credit here. He bets his draws, he bets his bluffs, and he bets his hands.
Yosha's got a gut shot,
It's hard to know where he's at.
and Ed folds.
Interesting email here. Once again, we try to keep the show as interactive as possible. We get an email from Mark Boganura. Talks about seat selection. He goes, do either of you care where you sit at the table? And he says, I personally hate the 3 middle seats. And for me, obviously, seat selection, a lot of people are superstitious and pick tables. Seat selection, for me, it's more of
position on a player.
Yeah, I
right?
want to get position on a certain player. Maybe I want to be, to Ed's left.
Right.
So I can be behind Ed. Or in this kind of table, maybe I want to be behind Bobby Belande.
Right.
I want to have position on Bobby.
Buttons over here in seat 3. We got a raise here by Ken Berg. And look at this. Seat 2 is going to re-raise. And it's 1,000 more. Ed made it 1,000 more with 6-9 of diamonds. Holy smokes. And Ken's going to call. So Ed's picking a spot here to be real aggressive. And Yosh calls. And we've got about a $3,200 pot. Ed's the pre-flop re-raiser. Here we go. And Ed's got a straight draw here. Yosh checks. And let's see what Ed's going to do here. It's a $3,200 pot. He's going to bet half the pot. He bets $1,500 with his straight draw. And Ken can't call, right? And has Ed ever showed this type of pre-flop strength with something that might not be pocket fours here? I mean, it's an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him bluff earlier with 6-7 of close, but nobody else saw it.
Right. I mean, he's chosen right now to bluff, but Yosh is going to make the call. But Ed's got a ton of outs. He's got overcards and a straight draw.
Yeah.
Turns a queen.
I mean, Yosh loves to play against Ed, but I mean, how much heat can he take here?
It's a $6,200 pot, and Ed's going to bet $1,000. Not that much. $1,000 bet into a $6,200 pot.
You really wonder. You really wonder sometimes. Yosh is laughing because he's going, wait a second, you just bet $1,500, now you're betting $1,000?
And he's going to call. And we've got an over $8,000 pot, and the river's a 7, and Ed gets there. There's the straight. He's got it.
And he's going to continue betting. Can Yosh call again?
$2,100. That almost makes it an even $10,000 pot. $2,100
I mean,
to call
what can
here.
you beat? What can you beat that Yosh...
What can you just check called the whole way?
That's what, but what I'm saying, I mean, I don't mind the check call if you think your hand's... But what can you beat right now? I mean, what, 6-7, well, a pair of 7s is there.
Well, ace-jack or ace-king, I guess. And Yosh says, that's half my stack, that bet.
Wow, and he's called off almost $4,000, Yosh has.
And Ed was bluffing the whole way, and he got there. And the pot's $10,000 is about $2,000 a call here.
Hey, how you doing? I got your phone
I mean, you
call.
try to think of a hand that
Great
a
game,
rational person would be betting on the flop, right? You go, okay, Jack 9 got there,
I know, Ray,
6-7 there. I'm trying to think of another hand that maybe he would
But remember,
have.
Ed re-raised pre-flop, so it might be a little bit difficult to put him on any of those types of hands.
Okay, so you can beat ace-king or ace-jack, right?
Right.
That's pretty much it.
I'm not raising you.
I mean, the only two hands you can think of that maybe you can beat. I mean, I guess you could beat king-jack.
I don't want to run it twice.
No,
And Yosh says, do you want to run it twice? And that's what it's got to really be going through Yosh's head. He can only beat a pure bluff here.
Well, the 7 really kills you in the sense of if, let's say Ed was making a move and raising with 7-6, you can't even beat that anymore. You can't beat that draw.
Well, one of the things that might throw Yosh off, and sometimes it even throws me off as a player, and I've seen Ed play so many times, hopefully Ed won't show this hand.
Show us ace-jack. Come on, Ed.
Show him ace-jack.
Oh, he's going to show.
Aw.
He shows it. Shows the 6-9. Is that would Ed bet a mediocre hand or even one pair at the river? Sometimes it makes it look like, well, maybe he's bluffing because I know he wouldn't bet, a marginal hand on the river. He's either got a monster or he's got pairs bluffing.
I always say that. That's what makes it really difficult to play against unconventional players. People like Corporation Mike or people like Ed.
Right.
Because you don't really know where they're at because they're not playing proper in-the-box poker.
Right.
Worth $50 billion. You're worth about $50. I'll give it back to you.
I mean, look at the betting pattern. It makes no sense. Betting $1,500 on the flop, then $1,000, and then $2,000.
And I was hoping you would raise.
We had a raise here.
You're not going to raise that, just fucking.
Raise here by, I believe it was
What if I raise on 4
seat 8,
I was going to look at it.
7-5 offsuit. He made it 300 to go. Seat 9 is going to call. Tim calls.
You got a short stack and I can push it.
And here we go, three-way action. Ace, queen, 6.
Well, Tim's got top pair here.
But Mike was the pre-flop raiser in seat 8. And it gets checked around. The turn's a 5. Now Mike has a pair. And Tim checked again.
Wow, and you got to be careful how seat 9 has a open-ended straight draw now, and he's going to bet it.
Mariani who moved over from seat 5. He's going to bet. Looks like he bets. I think it's about maybe 1,400.
It looks like right around 1,400.
And Tim check calls. And Mike can't overcall this, can he? No, he's not going to call.
He wants to, though.
So the pot is, geez, almost $4,000. And the river is a 6. And Frank is just going to give up.
And Mike is kicking himself because he would have gotten there with trip 6s.
Well, Mike actually had 5-7.
Oh, 5-7.
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Okay, I thought he had 7-6 for a second.
And Tim takes it down.
Got a nice email here from Tom Martin. I guess he's with Bluff Magazine. And he's going to try to get us in there.
Yeah.
I guess. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I've got a self-destruct button. Sometimes they self-destruct button.
And then Damian Edwards writes us an email saying,
Nice.
letters in the mail to Bluff.
Thank you very much, Danny.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
You can email us at liveatthebike.com. Tim Fan is the button here in seat 6.
It's funny, we got a couple of big winners tonight. I'm wondering, trying to figure out who's losing tonight so far. I guess Frank Mariani's down so far. I guess Barry Woods is down so far.
4-way action. 7-7-10.
Wow, and Frank has a gut shot straight flush draw.
Yep, flush draw, straight draw, gut shot, straight flush draw. But look at this, Mike's got trip 7s, and he checked it from up front. The turn's a 3.
I got to tell you, if I have 9-6 of spades here, I almost want my opponent to have pocket 7s.
And look at this, Mike, he's going to bet 300 here with trips, Dave. He's done this type of thing the whole night. And he's going to, he's not going to get Frank to call if Frank misses, but he might lose a lot if Frank hits here on the river.
Exactly.
And here we go to the river, and the river's an ace, and Frank doesn't get there.
And we see it all the time. It's like you're raising. Yeah, exactly. I missed. You're not going to get any more money. The whole point of betting big on the flop and the turn is to get those draws to really pay for them. That's where you're going to make your money.
And again,
it's a
I don't
rare
mean to attack anybody personally, but I said I played with Mike before. I just don't really know what kind of style he's going for.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like every move that he's done tonight, you could easily make a strong case for doing the exact opposite.
And having said that, obviously you don't want to be results oriented because
Right.
Mike is actually up tonight.
Right.
So is anybody a winner?
Only you, Barry.
Little raise here from Ed here.
Until today, yeah.
He raises it up with pocket 6s, and Barry's going to call with king 4 of hearts.
Yep.
I mean, I'm
Well,
all
Barry might
for
get
mixing.
impatient.
I'm all for mixing it up, but calling a raise with king 4 of hearts.
Because he's been back.
Well, we got a call here by Queen 9 by Frank Mariani, and here we go. Ed brought it in with pocket 6s, $1,200 pot, Jack 10-4. Well, Frank's open-ended.
Yep, nice flop for Frank there. Ed's going to make a little continuation bet.
Ed bets 500. He has the best hand.
And Barry's going to call.
No, he's going to raise. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, he's going to raise it up to 1,100.
Kind of a minimum raise again. Ed threw in 5. I want to say 500.
And look at Frank. He's short. I mean, he's just going to call. Well, wouldn't you just push the rest? Well, maybe he just wants an overcall from Ed. But Ed's not going to overcall. And Frank has a lot of outs here.
Oh, yeah.
He's got overcards, straight draw.
Queen and 9. A king.
Turns at 10. Barry's still good here. Now, Frank could also pick up a jack here. And the river's a 4, and Barry fills up.
How much you got left?
600.
But he's not going to get a call from Frank this time, I don't think.
Yeah, Barry bet the wrong time.
Yep. But he did raise Ed off the best hand, Dave. And Barry's going to take it down there.
Well, hey, if you're going to play kind of mediocre hands in position, you better play them aggressively.
Yep.
Is Amir coming in?
Give credit to Barry for earning that pot.
Yep.
Oh, I agree with you. Give me 5%, yeah.
Buttons moved here. To
Finally,
C8.
Barry Woods wins a pot.
Yeah, that's one of the first ones we've seen, right?
Yep.
In a while.
Barry Woods assures me that in a couple of weeks, I think he's bringing his daughter's boyfriend down to play.
Yep.
And he's actually going to put his daughter's boyfriend in the game. God, man. What a nice guy.
In LA, we don't really consider that
We have a little mini raise here by Bobby Belland.
What's that?
8-7 offsuit.
Hey, Donna, did you bring a souvenir back from England? Yes, I did. Yeah, set of bad teeth.
600 all in.
And Frank's going to move the rest in here out of the blind with King
Have a
Queen.
chance in a million, ever.
He's going to move in here for 600.
Hey,
A lot of dead money in the pot.
What did I do?
Yours folded. No, yours folded. No, he said 600.
I should have pulled the card.
Good.
When in doubt, blame the dealer.
Jack 9-5 here, all spades.
I couldn't have this club last time. 300.
And look at this. Bobby Belande is going to bet 300 here with a straight draw.
Now, this is one of those flops. It's not a bad flop, but Frank, again, you got to look at it. He's got a gut shot. He's got overcards, plus he has the king of spades.
Well, he's all in. And Mike is going to call with bottom pair. Bobby, he's got a double gutter here, right, with 8-7. He catches
Well,
6 or a 10.
Frank needs Kobe to hit a 3 here.
Turns a 6, and Bobby makes it. He's got the straight.
Frank's got redraws to him, though.
And Bobby's going to bet 2,000 here on the side. Mike's got bottom pair here. Well, what's he even doing limping on the button, then calling the $600 raise by Frank out of the blind?
10-5 offsuit. There we go. That's the hand that's an answer to a trivia question there. 10-5 offsuit is what is the only straight you cannot make with 10-5 offsuit? Or suited, actually.
10 of diamonds.
Well, Frank needs a 10 here. River's a 7.
Yeah, it doesn't get there.
Bobby's going to take it down there with the straight.
Another pot for Bobby. And he is on fire.
Yep.
Absolute fire. I mean, it's no question with Bobby's style why he does well in tournaments, you know? He really does well at accumulating chips. Now, the big question is, over a 4 or 5 day event, does he have the discipline and the patience to keep those chips?
That was all I was willing to pay. That was all I was willing to pay for the gut shots. I decided to bet myself.
Button's going to move there to seat 9. I actually can hear Bobby saying, I was willing to pay for the gut shot, so I bet it on the side.
You know that.
Hey, it makes sense, right?
This better be worth getting off. I apologize, guys.
I mean, obviously the reason he called is because Mike is deep and he thought maybe he can get paid off by Mike.
Mike, what do you do?
Let me help you here.
The problem is Mike is rarely in there with a real hand if you're
I
going
know,
to get paid
Mike's
off.
calling with bottom pair, and it's just,
Right.
he can't take a lot of heat.
So it's tough to know where you're at.
And it was a nice bet, Bobby. It was a confident.
Neither one of them really wants it.
And Frank Mariani's behind $5,000. Spot's limped around.
Another minimum buy-in there from Frank.
10-6-3.
Ooh, 2 pair for Yosh.
Yep, he's in the blind. He's going to check top 2 pair from up front. Kenny's going to bet bottom pair. He bets 400.
Tim.
Now notice this play. Now watch this. I'm curious how Yosh plays this.
I wasn't thinking.
Every time he's had a big draw, he's moved all in right away.
Well, he's going to check raise.
But now with a real hand, now obviously 10-6s, but he's got 2 pair here, he check raises. And he doesn't check raise all in, he check raises an amount that he wants to be called.
Well, he makes it 1,000 more.
You can pick up on these you can pick up on the way he bets, and those are tells, folks.
Then I wanted my money back.
Those
Betting
are betting.
patterns is a tell? Are you kidding me?
To me, it's the biggest tell. Some people try to go, well, hey, he won't give me eye contact. He's fluttering his eyes.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't. The best tell is always betting patterns. I mean, we've seen Yosh play 4 hands today, right? With pocket 4s, he just check and called the entire way. With the 2 times he had big draws, when he had a flush draw and an open-ended straight draw, he moved in all right away. And with 2 pair, he check raises.
You mean a betting pattern is a more,
If
you
raise
know,
it back 1,200, yeah.
is more of a tell than, say, if Yosh takes money out of his wallet in a neat or sloppy manner? Like a Mike Caro type deal?
Right. Well, I mean, to me, you can pick up tells, all sorts of tells. Daniel Negreanu actually wrote an article a long time ago on Card Player. Somebody could probably find it, probably 3 or 4 years ago, where he wrote an article about tells, and he said that for him, betting patterns is the biggest tell. That's what he uses, and he thinks that physical tells are actually overrated.
Limped around here. We have a player coming into seat 5, Amir. I don't know. We've got a number of different Amirs. Amir G.
I think, yeah, this is Amir, actually, the regular Amir that normally plays in our Friday night game.
Is it really?
Yeah. Well, Mir's a local businessman. He's a very successful businessman.
Look at
Good
this.
poker player.
Mike has brought it in for a raise here in seat 8 with 10-3 of diamonds. And he's going to get called in 3 spots. $1,200 pot. 9-deuce-5. 8-9 there. Jean Robert's got the best hand.
What is it?
And Barry's going to come out and bet here with overcards.
When I turn it on, I go in with
I just don't know what Mike is up to. Barry bets here with a bluff with overcards. He bets 900. Let's see what Bobby's going to do there in seat 3.
I got to tell you, this game is fabulous.
Bobby's going to call.
I mean, if you've got the bankroll to play in a game like this game right now tonight, what a great game.
$3,000 pot. The turn's a 5. It's a $3,000 pot. Bobby checks, and Barry's going to bet again.
Yeah, he is on a stone-cold bluff, folks.
He bets $1,500 here. $4,500 in the pot. $1,500 for Bobby to call.
And let's see if we can get any mannerisms here from Barry Woods.
Possible ace-5. Still want to bet those 2 jacks, bro?
And this is the question here. You know, Bobby's probably looking at it going, well, I can't beat any 9, really. And now I can't beat ace-5 either. He even said, he goes, maybe I have ace-5. Maybe he's putting Barry on ace-5.
Bobby's going to fold there, and Barry takes it. Well, Barry's played pretty tight all night, hasn't he?
Well, as far as they're concerned, he has. We've seen him make some questionable calls here and there, but
Right.
they don't know that. Well, he bought himself a pot there.
There it is.
You know,
Sometimes when
sometimes,
you don't get the cards, you
Yeah.
got to make some moves to win money, right?
and I think that's what Barry's doing here. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not getting the big cards, and he figures he better earn it.
Button moves over to seat 2.
That hand is gone. Not interesting anymore.
I mean, the funny thing about that poll,
Yeah.
I've seen polls, and I think it was on actually Full Contact Poker, which sometimes does a thread for the show. Daniel Negreanu started a poll a couple of weeks ago regarding what the best poker broadcast was, and a lot of people said for the pure poker junkie, it's Live at the Bike, and for best entertainment value.
Great.
And it wasn't even one that Daniel mentioned in his, header post. 2, 3, 4, and 8 here, limped around, $400 pot, and here we go to the flop. King, ace 4. Bobby's got best hand again. He's got ace 3. I think he's in one of the blinds. He's
And
in
nobody
the small
else has
blind.
anything, really. I mean, Mike's got a gut shot straight draw, which might be enough for him to stay in there.
Turns a king, and Bobby might feel a little bit better about his hand now.
I mean, Bobby's hand is the kind of hand where you just want to check and call and just kind of get a free showdown. I mean, he can't beat really anything. He might just check and call.
Well, Mike bet, as he's got a wheel draw, and Bobby hasn't done anything yet.
I'm sweating the game.
And he's not even going to get involved here, Dave.
No.
Basketball game?
Well, you know what? He played it soft. He checked twice. He says, you know what? I can pick my spots better than this one. I don't
But
need
Barry's
four.
going to call with queen high.
Well, his hand is the best hand.
Is he going to throw a little blocking bet here on the river? The river's a king.
Well, he's got the nuts.
Nut, no pair, and he's going to bet. Now he bets. He bets 1,000. And Mike is going to fold, and there it is. Barry makes
Yeah.
the move.
And what if Mike raised that?
Well,
Well, Barry called him down. I guess Barry sensed that he had nothing. I mean,
yeah.
wow.
And look at that. Bobby says, if I called the flop, would you have called? And Barry said, no. And Bobby says, I had the ace.
Yeah. Well, once the king comes out, Bobby knows
Yeah.
his hand is good, you know.
Figure out if I made the right
But hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. Button moves over there to Bobby.
Bobby, you play fine.
Limp here.
Just for a testimony to that.
Ed's got a king 6 suited. And I got to tell you, I mean, the only problem I've had with Ed's game tonight so far is he's just played it a little bit passively, Dave. But then again, with that hand with the 9-6 of diamonds, he drove hard with it. So,
I mean, he also drove hard with that 6-7 of clubs against Frank Mariano.
right.
He's earned himself a couple of pots.
5-way action, $500 pot, ace, king, deuce. Ed's got second pair. Ken's got second pair. Now, Ed might be put to the test here. Let's see what's going to happen with his hand. I mean, you wouldn't think, well, he's got second pair, weak kicker, but it's Ed. You never know.
He's got backdoor clubs.
And everybody just checked it.
Yeah.
Turns the club.
Wow, this is
one
getting
of these
interesting now.
types of times if somebody bets here, Ed could really put a raise in, couldn't he? Or you look at it the other way around, might you want to see a showdown on the river
Yeah.
with your club draw?
The only question is, Ed is in late position. What would he hit on the turn that he wouldn't have bet? What would he hit on the flop that wouldn't have bet?
Well, it gets checked to Ed. He's going to bet 400. And Barry's going to call. He's got a flush draw. And Ken Burke calls with king jack. And Ken checked that king twice. Here we go to the river. The river is a 5.
Yeah, Ken Berg has the best hand there.
One thing, though, Lakers
But look at this. Ed's going to bet again. He bets 800. I don't know if that's enough here, Dave.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's enough. Remember, he checked the flop, folks. I mean, you got to think about it. He checked the flop
Right.
in position. Would Ed check a flop, check the ace in position?
And Ed says, take a good look at the board here. Ken check called the turn. Ed bet 800 on the river, and Ed's going to pull the bluff off again. There it is. I didn't think it was quite enough, but
And the one thing I'm wondering is, now that hand where he had the 9-6 of diamonds, where he actually caught the straight on the river,
yeah.
does Ed bet 2,000 on the river there and get Yosh to fold anyway? That's the question.
Yeah,
Because obviously we've seen 2 successful bluffs by Ed tonight. You wonder if that one would have been the third.
right. Good post here by Surf and Illini on 2+2. He says, if I was in the game and Ken Bird led out on a flop, I would raise him every single time, regardless of the cards, because he's probably not going to be able to take a lot of heat if he bets out, because everyone knows he traps with his monsters, right?
Yep. And
Every time.
And that's a real good observation by Surf and Illini there. I mean,
Yeah.
you really got to play the players, especially when you're playing
Right.
no limit hold'em.
No matter what I...
Button's going to raise here to 350. That's Barry Woods. He's got king, queen suited.
Oh, Ed, you're out?
Now Mike's got an ace, rag suited, and he's just going to call.
Good luck to you.
For what?
Call it.
I should be thanking you.
And here we go to the flop.
I don't know. It
I check.
could be then I'll check.
10-9-4. Barry's got overcards and a straight draw, but it goes check, check. Turns to 7. Now Mike's open-ended.
Now Barry's overcards obviously are not as valuable in this case because
Check, check again, and the river's a 4.
why doesn't Barry ever take a shot at it? In position, I don't
I
understand.
don't know. Ace high is going to be good here.
He lets Mike get away with that with ace high.
Now, one of the other things about Ken Berg, too, that I'll point out is, you know,
Almost a flush, almost a
it's not even that he leads out with his marginal hands. He'll lead out with his good hands that he probably doesn't want to necessarily take to a raise. Because look at that, he checked the king twice. I mean, I know obviously he can't be an ace on that hand from 2 hands ago, but he kind of played it so passively, he just, you know, he ended up just, you know, folding there at the end
Yeah.
to Ed's bet.
Hey, are you living the rush?
Live the rush, Poker Blue. Go to pokerblue.com. Sign up, play 4 hours on any 1-2 limit hold'em table or higher, any no limit hold'em, and you get to enter the big fat weekly free roll for thousands of dollars in prizes every Sunday and afternoon. Check
That's
it
a
out.
close-up of Amir's mouth, I guess.
Mike's got pocket aces here in the big blind. Tim Fan's going to race to 400 here.
Frank.
Now, is this big enough that you could smooth call and trap? He's just going to call.
Well, you know, there's only one other player behind, and it is
Yep.
Amir. And Amir is kind of a tight player.
Yeah.
He's tight in a 10-20 game. What are you going to imagine he's going to be in here?
$800 pot. Tim's the original raiser. And look at this. Mike's hit a set of aces. And he checked it.
And you imagine Tim is going to take at least one shot at it.
Yep. He bets. That's 800.
And to me, this is an easy raise here. Because what are you going to do? Check the turn again?
Well, you're out of position, right?
Exactly.
He just calls. And Tim's not stupid.
Yeah, pot's 2,500 now.
Yeah. Turns a 3. Tim is drawing dead now. Mike's got a full house. Well, and now he's going to lead. He bets 800.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to just check and then call, I mean, you almost want to raise that anyway. Make it look like you're on a steal, and then maybe Tim will re-steal. You got to hope that maybe Tim gets out of line.
Well, might he get out of line here?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I mean, Tim's clearly not going to just call. He's either going to raise or he's going to fold.
Oh, man, he's going to raise. Oh, and Mike trapped him good this hand.
Well, that's the reason for betting into it.
Now, you said you had a problem with just check calling and then checking the turn, but he played it different.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? He check called and then bet the turn.
Exactly.
So that's a little better. He made
Well-
it 2,000 more here.
When you're playing a player like Tim, Fan,
And Mike is going to call. And how is he going to play it here on the river? And the pot's over $6,000.
Yeah.
How can Tim lose any more money? Do you check the river here?
I would imagine you've got to check the river. You've got to just know your beat.
Wow, the river's a 3. Do you let him bluff at it one more time? Or do you put him on maybe a weak ace or king and you might just check it down in a showdown?
Real tough to put him on a weak ace here. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't bet a king. I mean...
Well, Tim knows, obviously, that he's beat. I mean, guy called the raise. And let's see how
well,
Mike's going to
Tim
play.
plays the board.
Yeah. the pot, again, it's about a $6,000, actually $7,000 here.
I mean, Tim can't beat any pocket pair, and he can't
Right.
beat a king or an ace, and obviously he ties everything else.
And Mike is trying to figure out, how do I extract money here?
Yeah.
3,000.
And he's going to bet 3,000 here. And Tim's probably going to put a little acting job on here. I mean, Tim doesn't really have that much.
No.
And the funny thing, too, here is you might have even been forced to bet the river there, Dave, because the pot is so big now. It was about a $6,000 or $7,000 pot. But take a look at Tim Fan's chip stack. He's got about maybe 1,800 left. He could just give up there. Because what is Mike not going to call for 1,800 on that pot size, right?
Well, you can play
Oh, he's got a
either-
$5,000 chip, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, you can
That's a
play
good-
it
that
either
is a
way.
difference.
The big thing is you got to look at it and go, well, I mean, one of the reasons why you bet into him on the turn, a player like Tim Fan or a player like Bobby Belande, is because these players are just as likely to make a move on you.
Right.
And you have to give them the opportunity to make the move on you.
Right.
Because if you just check, Tim might just check behind you, sensing that you're probably strong. But since you bet, they think, wait a second, this guy thinks he has to bet to win the pot. Let
Right.
me see if I can raise him off.
I raise.
And Bobby Belande is going to raise. Makes it 300 to go. He's got ace, jack, offsuit. And he might not get any play here. This is a collection pot. Frank Mariani's going to call. He's on the short stack. 5-3 offsuit. And I think Bobby just said he has ace, jack. Here we go to the flop. Queen 7-4.
Well, Frank's got a gut shot. He needs a 6 there.
Check, check. Turns a 9.
Imagine if they go check, check again. Yeah.
River's a 4. And is Frank going to make a move here at all?
I don't think so.
He's just going to give up.
And Bobby takes it down.
Yep.
True to his word here, he has ace jack.
And that is a collection pot.
You know what? It's got to be a certain amount of money. The pot has to be a certain amount to actually be collection.
Right.
And you wonder if maybe it wasn't collection because they didn't go over a certain amount. I'm
Yep.
curious.
I was actually
It should be 600 profit. Bullshit is that?
Okay, and that pot was big enough. Sometimes the pot is not big enough. They don't take it out of the pot.
Looks like there's a thread started over at Full Contact Poker finally, Dave.
Oh, that's cool.
About an hour and a half into the show.
So you can go to liveatthebike.com. If you don't know how to follow these threads, you can go to liveatthebike.com and click on either the 2+2 thread or the Full Contact Poker thread. Or, hey, both threads.
Right.
Open them both up and chat on both of them. We try to keep the show as interactive as possible.
Button moves over here to seat 8. And look at the chip stack in front of seat 3. Boy, he's crushed this game, Dave, pretty much every time he's been on it.
Bobby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of line do you get?
Seems to raise his game for the TV, huh?
It's gonna make it.
Cameras.
It's gonna make it 200 to go here.
Yeah, the cameras bring out the best in him.
He's got ace jack again. Barry's gonna call with 9-6 suited. Now look at this. Mike is calling on the button. He's got 8-4 offsuit. 8-4 offsuit. So we got four-way action here, and it's an $800 pot. Yosh is in there as well, 5-8. 6-3-3. And Barry's got top pair, and he's going to bet.
He's live to do that, huh?
He bets 600 into an $800 pot. And Mike's just making a stone-cold bluff here. And if you've watched Mike, would he ever raise with strip threes here? Now, Barry can't beat a real 6, and Barry instantly calls.
Well, that's the question.
He would never raise with three
No.
threes here. Turns a queen. Now Barry's got a flush draw in a pair. Barry checks, and Mike checks right behind him. And the river's a 9, and Barry's got 2 pairs. 6s and 9s.
And you got to love your hand now because you know that Mike wouldn't bet the 3. He wouldn't raise the 3. He would have just smooth called and
Right.
checked you.
And Barry's going to see if he puts a little kind of a blocking bet out. Bet's 1,100. That's about half the size of the pot. But look at Mike. He's pulling raising chips out of here. He might sense it. Maybe he's trying to get a read
I
here.
got to tell you, though, he's bluffing the wrong guy. I don't think Barry's going away for
Well,
nothing.
Barry can't beat anybody with a queen here.
Yeah, but
I know.
Why
Mike
would
showed
Mike have a
strength on
queen?
I'm just saying, Mike showed strength on the flop, obviously.
and then checks the queen.
Right. He can beat another 6, but he can't beat a queen. And Mike is going to raise. He makes it. He mini raises, And I don't know if that's going to do it, Dave.
That's
And
not
Barry
a question.
instantly calls. It's a great call by Barry.
Great call. Anybody would make that call. It's a garbage bet. How do you raise the minimum and think that's going to work? Come on. You're raising the minimum? I mean, think about the pot there, folks. How big was the pot?
I mean, we're talking about it. When Barry put in that little bet there, he put in about $1,100 bet into about a $3,300 pot.
So we're talking about a $5,500 pot.
$4,400, and then the guy makes it, $2,200 on top. Over $6,000, $1,100 to call, basically.
So he was getting 6 to 1 on his money?
Yeah, that was just.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, if the guy had a real hand, he's not going to raise it minimum. I just don't buy that. I got to tell you, I was defending Mike right away. I said, hey, I played with him a couple times. He seemed like a decent player. But after watching him for the last 2 hours, man, I got to agree with you. His game is sorely lacking.
Yeah.
Although he's way up tonight.
Seat 4 is going to raise here with Ace-King.
Can you fold it?
Everybody has
Barry
bad
Woods.
nights. I don't want to dismiss a guy's game right away. But the way he's played tonight, he hasn't shown me much.
And Bobby's called here with Ace-10 of diamonds or heads up. Queen 7 deuce.
And Barry was a nice pot there.
And look at this now,
$7,000.
Barry would lead here, Dave, in a 10-20 game, but he's playing it kind of passively post-flop tonight. And Jean Robert's going to bet here with a gut shot. He bets 800.
You wonder, is Barry going to call, though? Is he going to induce the bluff? Is Barry going to call this?
We just won that big hand.
Oh, look at that. Blonde goes, are you going to call me and hope for the 10 on the river?
Yeah.
He puts him on the hand. That's always scary when when your opponent puts you on the exact hand you have.
Barry's going through it in his head.
Yeah, he's trying to replay this and see what does Bobby have.
I just think that Barry's definitely playing it much more passively than he has.
Yeah.
Usually the great thing about Barry's game is he'll fire. He's real aggressive at post-flop.
And Bobby has put him on the exact hand he has. I got to tell you, if I'm sitting next to Bobby and I have ace-king and he says, oh, you got ace-king there? You waiting for the 10? I might just shit right in my pants right there and throw it away.
And Barry's going to call. He calls.
Well,
and if Bobby really thinks he has ace-king and both players miss, he obviously has to fire on the river, right? And the river's an 8 and both players miss. So how much does he have to bet to get Barry off of ace-king? If he thinks he has ace-king, he can't check it down and win in a showdown. He's going to bet 2,000. He bets 2,000 here, Dave, into a pot that's about 3,500.
So it's 5,500, 2,000 to call.
Yep.
Barry has made some legendary calls.
Come on.
Now, was he calling on the turn to try to hit a 10, an ace, or a king?
Yep.
Or was he calling because he thought he had the best hand? Because the 8 doesn't really change anything.
He's going to fold.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess. 2 sixes.
Bobby takes it down.
Well, your first read was right, Bobby. The ace-king was the right read.
Yeah. Button moves over there to Yosh in seat number 1.
I would have. It's been broke if I had ace-10. I would have moved in on the
Seat 4 is in the big blind. And we're going to take a look at another chip count. Look at Ed. How much is he up for the night? He's up to 21,000.
Well, there you go, 21,000. He's in for 15, so he's up 6,000 for the night.
Okay.
Bobby Belande is in for 5, so he's up 12,000. Mike, I want to say Mike is in for 10. I think he's up 7. Frank is obviously, I think Frank sets his third.
And how much is
buy-in.
Bobby Blonde in there for?
He's only in for 5,000.
So he's up 12,000. Wow.
Tim Fan is in for 15. He's down 8. Frank Mariani's in for 15. He's down.
Now Barry is raised out of the blind here with ace queen. And he's going to get a few callers here. We've got an over $1,000 pot here again. Going to the flop. Barry, Mike, and Ken Bird.
And
Jack,
once again,
8-7.
And once again, ace queen is no good. I mean, big cards are no good. But
Now Barry's going to lead though. He bets 1,200 here, and it's a strong bet. It's a pot-sized bet. And now, is Mike paying attention to the fact that Barry did not bet heads up and then folded to, to Bobby? But now Barry's betting strong.
Well, you got to want, and also, you know what? Mike just tried to bluff Barry out.
Right.
Take the cue. Okay, maybe this is the guy I don't want to try to bluff out because he's going to call me down. But sure enough, Mike's got the best hand. But I mean, when you're calling a range with 5-7 offsuit, is that the flop you're looking for?
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're hoping your opponent has aces or queen, kings or something, and you're really hoping to hit a straight or a two pair or trips.
And there it is. Mike makes the laydown, and that play was kind of set up by the fact that Barry has been playing a little bit passively post-flop all night. Now he bets really strong. Looks like Barry's got some confidence now that he's got some chips.
Yeah. And this game's like a lot of things in life. You know, it's all about the confidence. If you feel good about yourself and you believe in yourself, you know, you're able to make those plays.
Right.
And sometimes it's actually good if you miss your flop to not continue bet. You know, you wonder because if you're always raising and then always following through, you know, some people will put you on a bluff once in a while.
You got 90,000 for a turn? No,
300.
96.
We got a raise here by seat 9. He makes it 300 to go. Queen 5 of hearts for Frank Mariani.
1,500 entries? So 1,511, yeah. What's your
And we've got three-way action. 3, 5, and 9.
Well, Jack 10-9 flop out there. A couple of hearts.
Yep.
Amir's in there. He's got, actually, I'm sorry, it's Jack 10-10.
It's not worth any money.
Amir has the best hand.
Amir, do you sell furniture?
But Frank makes a continuation bet, and he's going to take it down.
Yep. Couple of hearts out there. He bet with the flush draw.
Yep.
Takes it down. Nice semi-bluff there by Frank.
I don't need furniture. I just, for some reason, I have a friend that I think knows you that I was thinking.
Button's going to move over here to seat 4. We have a little under an hour left in the show.
And once again, you can catch us Thursday and Friday this week.
Unrestricted No Limit Hold'em games 5-10 tomorrow and 10-20 on Friday.
Yeah, and they can catch us 6 to 9 p.m. Next week, we start 7 to 10. Obviously, we're trying to do that to get better games in here on a nightly basis.
Frank, help us
Mike. Yeah, I'd love to call you this.
Camus is good, huh? Smooth. Many people.
Mike brought a raise in here with Jack 10 offsuit under the gun.
You got a hot nut for me or something?
Yes, thank you.
And Healing's going to take it down. And again, I want to point out
You have the best hand.
bluffmagazine.com/reader's choice. There's a poll there. And there's a poll and there's a section for best poker broadcast, best poker commentary. And Live at the Bike is not in the drop-down box, nor is David and I in the best commentary field. So you can write us in, or why don't you send an email to Bluff demanding that we get put in as a selection.
You really are offended, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, if you do love the show and you like our commentary, we'd appreciate it.
Three.
Bobby Belande is going to raise it up here to 300. He's got Queen 10 offsuit. Amir calls with King 9 of diamonds. Frank's in there with Ace Rag in seat 9. King, Jack 9. Well, Bobby's got top pair and he's open-ended.
Yeah, nice flop for Bobby there. It's always nice to raise with a marginal hand and then flop a monster, huh?
He bets 800.
It's a rainbow board, so the open-ended straight draw is real valuable.
He's going to take it down once again.
I tell you, Bobby's running over this table.
Who's the actor on that? She was really good.
The actor continues.
The actress is the one I'm talking about.
She got
Like, you're a fan of the beanie hat?
He can pull it off.
She was
Yeah.
good in.
He can definitely pull it off. I got to tell you, I wouldn't try it if I was you.
Well, I guess Mike is up a lot over there in seat 8 too, Dave. I mean,
He's only in for the original as well, huh?
I guess he's up 12,000 too, and it's amazing the way that he played.
Well, you know, he caught Tim Fan in a big bluff.
Yeah,
He also won a big pot with Frank Mariani when he had 2 pair.
right.
He's gotten a little lucky here and there.
Queen 7-7. And Amir is going to raise here on a total bluff, and he takes it down.
Yeah, I've been playing with Amir lately as well, and he's really, it was funny, the first 3 or 4 months we watched him play, he was really ABC. If he raised, he had it, you know what I
Right.
mean? And he's really opened up his game where he once in a while, he'll bluff. And once in a while, he'll bet without the best hand.
Yeah.
You know, if he raises with ace-queen and he misses, he'll continue betting. You wonder if he watches the show and he's kind of on to everything.
Yep. Amir's going to limp in here with an ace-9. We get a couple people away from the table. Frank Mariani's going to raise it up to 200. 9-6 of hearts.
5 jack, please, dealer.
And Ed's out of the hand, too, so we're playing a little short right now. Queen, deuce, deuce. It gets checked around. Turn is an 8. Whoever wants this one can probably take it.
Well, it gives Frank. Frank got the flush draw now.
Well, Jean's going to bet here, Jean-Robert.
Yeah, nice
And
play.
Frank's going to raise with his draw.
Nice play here by Frank, and he's going to take
And
this down,
Yosh
I bet.
folds the higher flush draw. And Frank's going to take it down.
Great play by Frank Mariani there. Calling that on the turn obviously would not have been a good play.
Right.
But raising it, what a great play.
I come in for the kill here?
You know, almost representing the deuce, slow playing the deuce, and then betting, raising on the turn.
Now, a little interesting thing here. Tim Fan is he's gonna come back in here, Dave. He was away from the blind. He's gonna come in and straddle, which you're allowed to do, to come back in, as opposed to say, I guess it's the same thing as posting and posting dead, but it's considered a straddle.
Right. Why would you? I mean, you could post dead $150,
Right.
Or you could put the extra 50 and it can be live.
Donna, move. Where is it? All-Star Game is live. Doesn't say.
Is that the one in Vegas? Or
And Mike is back. He posted dead, seat 8.
Is this yours?
And it has not been a good night for Tim Fan.
That's why it says
We got 5-way action here, times 200. It's a $1,000 pot. And here we go. It's gonna get. We need to see Yosh and seat 1's cards on the button.
Yeah, Tim Fan raises it up here with pocket 5s.
Oh,
Pretty
look at
big
that.
raise.
Yeah.
He was straddling there, and he had the option, and he's going to raise it up.
He makes it 2,000 to go, it looks like. Well, there's 1,000 in dead money.
Yeah,
And he's
1,000
pretty
dead
much
money.
all in there. He's pretty much all in.
Well, he's got a $5,000
Oh, that's
check.
right. He's got that purple.
Yeah, that kind of messes it up. Now, I'm not sure what... If Yosh puts Tim on a steal here, I don't think Yosh has enough money, though, to get him off the hand, and he's only got ace-6.
Right. Steal with what? Like ace-9? He's still dominated.
Even let's be honest.
He's
even
got two $5,000 chips
Even
there.
if Tim is stealing with, like, some garbage hand, you know, you can just think of a lot of hands there. You know, even if he's stealing with, say, King-Jack, you know, Yosh has got ace-6. Do you really want to gamble for all your money with ace-high?
And Tim is going to take it down there. There you go.
And just like that, he wins $1,000.
Okay, I want cards.
These are not play chips, folks. These guys are playing 50, 100 blind, no limit hold'em.
Right.
There is well over 50 grand on the table right now.
I could have put it in right.
Pocket jacks for Amir.
Three.
Some great action we've seen tonight.
Yep. And look at this, seat 5 in the blind Amir. He's got pocket jacks, and it looks like he's going to raise.
Yeah, and Ken Bird here, he's got ace-king.
Yep.
Who does?
And he had made it 300 to go. So Amir makes it 1,200. And Bird, I mean, he's sure enough where he could just move all in, Dave. Looks like he only has maybe, what, 3,000 left or so?
Yeah, somewhere
maybe a
around
little
there.
more. He's going to call. But again, he's only going to hit that flop 1 out of 3 times, right?
Yeah. Problem with it, and when you hit it, it's pretty obvious to your opponent. And your opponent probably is going to pay you off anyway.
Heads up. Oh, look at this King Deuce Jack. I think Ken Berg's going to go broke here.
Yeah.
Amir's flopped a set. Kenny's got top pair. It's a $3,000 pot, and Amir checks.
And this is the exact reason why ace-king really is not that valuable a hand.
And Ken's going to bet.
And I'm sure Amir's going to raise this.
You bet 700.
See if Amir raises this right now.
Wow, he just calls. I
Well-
mean, these guys aren't really deep.
Yeah, if he knew what Ken had,
Yeah.
he would just move in.
Turns a 7.
If a diamond comes off, you wonder if it'll be an action killer.
Check, and Ken Berg's going to move all in. And this pot is going to be almost $10,000. And Ken's drawing dead.
Yeah,
It's over, folks.
It is over. Amir's going to double up, pretty much.
River's an 8. Amir's got trip jacks, set of jacks. And that one would have went down probably the same way regardless.
Now, it's funny, if you go to liveatthebike.com and you click on Under the Gun with David Tuckman, my most recent posting is actually talking about the value of ace-king.
Right.
And one of the biggest problems with ace-king when you're playing it against a good player is good players just aren't going to lose that much money to ace-king because they realize the value of ace-jack and ace-10 and ace-queen. They realize they could be up against ace-king.
Right.
And you've got to understand that you're up against pocket 10s or pocket jacks. If those scary cards come up, ace or king, you're not going to gain much money off that guy anyway because they're going to get away from it. The only time you do get action is when you get, like, you know, when times you don't want action. The flop comes out ace-jack or king-jack.
Now, Surfing Illini on 2+2 says that when Bobby Belande has strong hands, he bets and he doesn't talk. But when he's in there bluffing, he's got something to say. So, you know, keep that in mind as we watch him over the next
Okay, it's
times he's
interesting
on
to
the
know.
show and then on the show in the future.
So if he's bluffing, he's talking. If he's got something, he's quiet.
We had a raise here to
Also-
300 by, I believe it was,
Here's one. I used to spend like 300,000 to build a sushi bar, but
and here we go. Well, 10-3-7. Yoshi's got top pair. It's 300 times 7. It's a $2,100 pot. And Mike is going to bet with top pair, but Yoshi's got him out kicked.
Yeah, well, Mike was the original roser.
So Mike raised pre-flop, and let's see what Yoshi's going to do. Let's see what Yosh does here. He's counting out his chips. He doesn't look like he's got that much. And he is just going to call, it looks like. He just calls. And the pot is now about $6,000. Jean Robert's got a gut shot to the 8.
He's trying to think, is it worth it for me? If I hit my hand, can I get paid off by Mike big time? That's
Right,
what he's looking at.
because Mike is really deep.
Well, that's what he's looking at. That's
Yeah.
why he called last time when he had a gut shot, and he hit the gut shot, but
Yeah.
he didn't get paid off by Mike.
So Yoshi's in real good shape here now. Mike's going to need to catch a 9. About a $6,000 pot. Here we go to the turn, and the turn's a 9!
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
And you know what?
And
That
he's
would've
going to
been-
move all in. He moves
Oh,
all
man. And Bobby Belonde, he has got to be kicking himself because that was a magic card. Not only does it give Mike
Oh,
two
yeah.
pair, but it gives him the straight, hits the gut shot, and who knows how big this pot would have gotten.
in. And he's going to put Yosh all in. Yoshi's got 2,000 left. The pot is about 8,000, 2,000 to call. If you're in the spot with ace-10,
You got to
you're
wonder.
getting 4-1.
Wonder what does Bobby look like right now? Oof.
And the funny thing is, even if Bobby knew what Mike had and he knew he was only drawing to 3 outs, if he could catch that 9, he knew he'd be good. And he'd have all of Mike's money.
Well, if he knew what Mike had, the problem was last time Mike only had bottom pair.
Right.
And you never know. Mike could have been betting with, say, Jack 3.
Right.
You know, and sometimes you hit your hand and you still don't get the paid off. This is one of those times where the 9 was the magic card.
It's funny if Mike hadn't led that much on the flop. Wow.
Oh, man.
8,000 in the pot, about 2,000 a call. Yoshi's taking his time with this one.
Well, you
I
know,
don't know if you can get away from this with this type of pot odds, though, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, it's a real difficult laydown here. Well, you've seen Yosh make big laydowns, though. You know, it's interesting, too. I mean, it's hard for Mike to have put Bobby on Jack 8 there because you go, well, maybe my opponent has 8-9.
right.
But Jack 8? Would he call Jack 8 there? So you might think your 10-9 is still good.
Yoshi has jack off.
And Yosh looks like he has folded.
Wow,
There
he
it
lays
is.
it down. Big laydown by Yosh. Nice laydown. The river would have been a 4 of
Yeah.
hearts. Wouldn't have changed anything, and Mike would have won anyway. Yeah, and Bobby's shaking his head there. Kind of one of those, what could have been, what ifs.
Button moves over here to seat 6, Tim Fan.
Now, I know Bobby actually watches this show, so you wonder, now that we've exposed maybe his tell, who knows? You wonder if he'll pick up on that and almost do a reverse tell at some point.
Well, Mike's in the big blind now. And again, Ed's played remarkably tight tonight.
And he's up probably $5,000 or $6,000
Yeah.
tonight, too.
Pocket jacks for Amir, seat 5.
Card me.
And Bobby says, can we increase the blinds to 1 to 200 now?
Everything okay?
Ed's got king queen. He's going to limp. Bobby's got 4-5 suited. He's going to raise.
6.
He makes it 600 to go. And Barry's got king 9 suited, Dave. Does he want to take it for 6 times the blind?
Yes, I.
Button's about 50 feet away.
6 times the blinds here.
6 altogether.
6
Boy, and Barry would really be reaching, but he makes the call. And Amir's got jacks, and you got to think he's probably going to raise, and he is going to raise.
Kobe's got 23 points at the half of the close game.
He's put the 600 in here, and let's see how much more he's going to make it. He's going to make it, looks like 1,400 more.
Well, he wants to isolate. He really wants to get Ed heads up. Wow.
No, Bobby is the raiser.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Amir has enough for Bobby to make this call, does he? What is Amir? And I know Amir doubled up off of Kukuru there. Yeah, I didn't think he had enough there.
And Amir's going to take down about 1,300 to 1,400 in dead money there.
Yeah. See, Amir's only got about $6,000, $7,000
Yeah.
left. You don't want to be calling a big raise there unless the guy's really deep. Cuckoo Ken, huh?
Yep.
Once again, we are live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here at Bart Hansen. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9. Next week we actually start, we push it back to 7 to 10. So change your calendar.
They're having a $2 million tournament.
C2 is going to raise it up here to 400 with pocket fours.
400 to go.
And
Right behind Kenny?
Ken Berg's going to call with King Jack offsuit. We talk about that hand being easily dominated. It's really almost a worthless hand in No Limit, isn't it? I mean, he is on the button.
Now, against certain players, you can expect to get paid off. I mean, let's say if Ed had King 10, a really good player doesn't get trapped.
Five-way action here. $2,000 pot. Jack 8-8. Well, Ken Berg's flopped it. He's outflopped everyone.
But is he going to make any money off it? Let's see.
Well, Ed's going to bet 1,000.
Little continuation bet there. He's got two pair, 8s and 4s. If everybody's missed the jack, he's good. I think Ken's going to raise this, though, right here.
Well, I think he's passing money back that he borrowed from somebody, so he hasn't acted yet. Let's see what he's going to do. It's a $1,000 bet. With 5 people in there, he's gonna. I think he's moving all in here, Dave.
Wow.
He's gonna move all in.
I mean, I got to tell you, sometimes you might just want a smooth call with that, only because if somebody has an 8, you're not going to get him off anyway.
So he's made it about 2,200 here. So I think it's another 200 or so. And actually, he's got about 2,000 in pink chips behind him.
Now, this is one of those times there's no way you put Ken on an 8, because if he had an 8, he's smooth call.
There's
right?
no way that he would have an 8.
But in this case, I don't think Ken has enough money to get off his jack.
Yeah. And folds.
Yeah, exactly. There's no fold equity by moving in there.
I mean, the beautiful thing here is that if Ken was deep and you were deep and you had an overpair there and the flop came Jack 8-8 and he raised you, you would know that your hand is absolutely the best hand and can play it accordingly from there.
If you're actually if you're deep there, you can even say, okay, I know this guy's probably got Queen Jack, King Jack, Ace Jack.
Yeah.
Do I think I can get him off that? And if I don't, I can throw it away. If I do, hey, I can act accordingly. Also.
Right. Button's moved over here to seat 8.
Yosh taking a break there.
And Bobby's going to a little mini raise here with pocket 3s.
He loves doing that mini raise, like Ace Jack, pocket
Well, he hasn't
threes.
really gotten re-raised a lot, so it's not really,
It's almost
it's
like
not
he
very
names
risky.
his price.
Yeah.
And he just sweetens the pot a little bit.
Mike calls, and we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-way action here. $1,400 pot.
Well, Bobby said he wanted to make this a 100, 200 blind, so he's kind of doing it artificially.
He said I need to flop a deuce, 9-8 deuce here. Ed's got the best hand, it looks like, Frank does with Jack 9.
Yeah, but Ed's got top pair also. You wonder if Ed can get in trouble here. Top pair, no kicker.
Ed's in the blind.
500.
He's going to come out and bet 500 here. And Bobby calls. Wow.
3 deuces. Oh, you do? I think I'd rather have one more deuce.
And Mike calls. He's got a gut shot to the 6.
One more deuce, please.
Well, there's only one more 3
Wow,
left
this
in the
pot
deck.
is now $3,400.
Turns a 5. And
Oh.
now Mike's got a pair of 5s. But Frank still has the best hand. Oh, and Ed's just going to bet 500 here again into, what'd you say, about a $3,000 pot.
$3,400, yeah.
So it's $3,900, 500 to call. I mean, Bobby can't think his hand is good here with 2 people behind him that have called the flop, but he's going to call again.
Raise.
And now Mike's going to raise. He's going to make it 1,000 more.
Now this is the question here. Mike is raising. He's raising 3 people. Does he really think he can get 3 people off the hand?
Well, this might save Ed, because I don't think Ed's going anywhere, but Frank might fold. And let's see what happens. Because I don't think Ed can. He's still not good enough to get rid of top pair. It's 1,000 more.
Well, the only thing that doesn't make any sense now, I suppose Mike is representing 6-7 here, because clearly if he had a 9 on that flop, he's going to raise it.
Right.
You know what I mean? What kind of hand would you raise on the turn? But remember, he's on the button.
The pot is 6,400, 15,000 to call, and Ed calls.
Well, you got to start thinking of things. If Mike had 6-7 here, it's the absolute nuts. There's no flush draw. Would he raise it?
The river's a 10. Ed checks. It's a $7,400 pot right now.
And Mike's got to know he has to bluff at this.
And Mike's going to bet. He's going to bet 2,000, not that set into a $7,400 pot.
Yeah,
The pot's now 9,400, 2,000 for Ed to call. I got to tell you, sometimes Ed plays it by how many chips he has in front of him. He's got a lot. He might make this call.
Well, you know, if you start thinking about the way Mike played this hand, it just doesn't make any sense, right? Think about it. If he had a 9 on the flop, and he's going to call.
And Ed makes the call.
Great call by Ed.
And Mike's got a pair of 5s, and Ed's going to take down over a $10,000 pot with a 9.
Great call by Ed.
And Mike saved Ed because he got Frank Mariani in between the fold and the small blind with Jack 9.
Yeah. Now, obviously, it's easy for us, but I'm telling you, if you play the hand backwards and you start thinking of the way Mike has played all night and the way Mike played that hand, you got to go, wait a second. He's raising on the flop with a 9. Okay, maybe he smooth calls with 6-7. But you know what? When I turn the nuts, am I really raising with the nuts? No. The way Mike plays, he's probably just going to take a free card.
Right.
I mean, he's probably just going to call and try to trap everybody.
I am.
The raise just doesn't make any sense.
But I take my medication
With the absolute
in half
nuts.
an hour, I'll become half-ass normal. Doesn't take you a lot more.
Collection pot, I refuse to play another collection pot.
No, I'm fine.
Yeah, Bobby said he refuses to play collection pot. He's paid every single one tonight.
Mike is going to make a little mini raise to 200 here with deuce 6 offsuit. And Yosh is in there. We can't see what he has.
I guess if Mike plays long enough, he's going to bluff away all his money, huh?
Turns a 6. Yosh has got Jack 8. It goes check, 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 and the river's a 3. And Mike's going to be good here with a pair of 6s. And he's going to bet now. I mean, I know we didn't have the board up there, but what about that bet on the river?
Well, no, I got to take a little offense to that. I personally think the bet on the river, it also there's value in not showing
That's
your
right.
cards.
I know you always say that. I know you always
Especially
say
in a game like this. Remember,
Yeah.
does he really want to show down that he raised with 6 deuce?
Right.
Oh, sorry.
And especially in a game like this where you know the people are paying attention.
Right.
3.
We got a $300 raise here by Barry Woods. Don't call me Barry Woo. King, Queen offsuit. Tim Fan calls ace rag.
Tim, you little face.
And we got a whole bunch of callers in here.
Was that you?
Yeah, under the gun and everybody calls.
Well, look at Ed. Now he's going to call 8 deuce offsuit. Well, he's got a lot of chips now. He's deciding to gamble.
7 ways times $200.
I think it was 300, wasn't it?
Okay, so 2,100. Well,
Queen, 3 deuce.
Well, Woods has got top pair. So does Amir.
Oh, check.
Couple spades. No one really has a big draw here at all.
No, it's just Barry and Amir here, really.
Barry's going to bet.
But Amir actually is not in the hand, folks.
Barry bets 1,200. Yeah, Amir's out of the hand. Tim's got a red wheel draw. He's not going to get involved. Mike's not going to get involved. And I think Barry's going to... Uh-oh. Is Ed going to get involved here with bottom pair, Dave?
Well, you know what? Sometimes he's gets a little confident, a little cocky. He made a good call. He's up a lot of money. He's got the backdoor spade draw. You can't dismiss that.
That would be unbelievable if he picked up a spade draw. No. Barry's going to take it down there. Nice email here from Devin Edwards. Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Hey, guys, anyone that doesn't vote or think you guys should be up on the bluff survey doesn't know poker. You guys are interesting to listen to and also help players play their game. While I don't play 5,100, I usually play 510 no limit. And you guys have helped my game a ton. Thank you, Devin.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate the nice words. Yeah, obviously, I mean, I always maintain you can learn a lot about poker. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really play the 3-5 game anymore, the 5-5 blind game anymore. Right. But I learn a lot from that game. I learn a lot from $200 game.
Right.
You can learn poker from any game because it's still the same 2 cards.
Couple of ace-jacks here. Ace-jack of diamonds for Kenny Berg in seat 7. He limps. Mike's going to raise with ace-jack offsuit. Frank's going to call with deuce-4.
Deuce-4 offsuit.
Yeah. And Ed's in there with a weak ace. Ace-deuce offsuit on the button.
I mean, in the end, isn't poker poker? And chips are chips. I mean, just the denominations are different.
Raise.
And wait a minute, is Ken Berg? He's going to pull the limp re-raise here, Dave. Pulling the limp re-raise.
Well, you know what? When Mike's raises don't really have much credibility.
Yeah.
Why not?
I like this move by Ken.
Yeah, nice play.
I mean, he limped in with a hand that isn't, super from up front, but he might figure right now he's got the best hand. There's a lot of dead money in there because there's a lot of loose guys that called Mike's raise, Frank and Ed. He might not necessarily made that move against somebody else in between, but against those guys,
right,
it's a nice play.
If Amir makes the raise, he probably does not re-raise. He probably just smooth calls with ace jack of diamonds. It's a great play. You pick up a free $900 that way.
Yep.
And just so you know, we do read the bad emails. So if you send in some criticism, we'll read that also.
Well, we have another email here from Niall Dillon. He says, Bart and Dave, I just want to let you know I really enjoy your show and happen to think it's the best poker out there. And I'm going to edit this email. He's basically saying, if you watch the World Series or WPT, everything's edited.
Yeah.
And you never really get to see the whole story. So now we get a raise here on the button to 900, a re-raise.
Yeah, and the raise on the button was from Bobby, I want to say?
Yeah, he's
with
got
Queen 8 offsuit.
Wow, and look at this. Look at these hands. We got $2,700 here going with these hands. Tim called with 710.
Well, you know what? Bobby's got the best hand here.
And everybody checked. The turn's a jack.
Well, Tim's picked up a draw now.
Tim checks. And it gets checked around again, and the river's a jack. And this one's going to get chopped up, right?
And this is one of those times.
And Ed's going to bet. And Bobby calls. It was a $500 bet.
And I think one of the reasons Bobby didn't bet that, to be honest with you, is because he didn't have to. He figured, well, I probably got the best hand. I don't need to bluff anybody out. If I don't have the best hand, I don't want to get raised. And they chop it up, actually, there.
Yep.
Best 5 cards play. They both have queens and jacks with a king kicker. Neither kicker plays there.
Well, a lot of times, in position, we always, make the case, why don't you bet on the flop there? He did have the best hand, but he chose not to.
Yeah. Mixing up his game a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, just to reference that email, actually, let's get to a chip down here. Look at Ed. Wow.
So he's up 10 grand for the night, right?
He's up 10 grand. Barry's probably up about $1 grand now.
Yeah. Jean Robert's up about 10 grand.
Mike up 8 grand.
Tim Fan's had a really, really difficult night. I mean, he's rebought a whole bunch of times.
Well, he's up and down all night.
Yeah.
Frank is probably down the most. He's probably down about 11 grand right now.
And Yosh is playing on the short stack. He's all in here pre-flop for 1,300 with pocket sevens, it looks like. And I mean, what are you going to get called with when you make it 1,300? Well, Tim Fan's going to call, but we can't see what he has. Tim's going to show us his cards. Show the cards there in seat 6. He's got King 10 of clubs. He called 1,300. Wow.
Just gambling.
Turns a 9. Rivers of 5 and pocket sevens are good.
Hey, little Christmas gift for Yosh.
Wow.
I mean, it was weird. He almost played it like a tournament, as if, hey, I'll see if I can knock this guy out.
Yeah, I've got a lot of chips. I can afford to, take a coin flip, right?
Right, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Now, one of the points about that email in terms of, the value of, obviously, of our show being educational because you get the whole story as opposed to an edited TV show, one of the things is, I bet, obviously, if you were to edit this show, you'd probably put that big call where Ed called Mike down with 9-4. And the interesting thing is, if you had seen just that call, you'd go, wow, what a call by Ed. I can't believe it. Nice play by Mike. He took a shot at it. But obviously you wouldn't have seen the whole story that Mike has been bluffing all night, and Ed knew it.
Look at this. Amir's got pocket jacks again. Barry brought it in here with king-queen suited. And Amir, the third time tonight, he's going to re-raise. And Ed actually was the original raiser, pocket sevens. And he's going to make the call of the re-raise to 1,600. And Barry's got king-queen. I don't know if he's...
Well, it's king-queen suited. He might take this off now with that Ed's in there.
A lot of money here behind these guys.
Well, Ed and Barry are real deep. Amir's only got about, I'd say, 8,000 left.
Either way, you don't have anything to come in, so just mark it.
And the pot is going to be about 4,000 if Barry folds here, and he does. And we're heads up. Amir with the 7, Ed with the 7s, and Amir with the jacks. Here we go. Oh, Ed's got trip 7s, but an ace comes out, though, Dave. He flops a set.
That's going to save Amir.
And he checks, and Amir's going to bet.
Oh, is that going to save Amir?
Amir bets 1,200, and Ed's going to raise it up 3,000 more to 4,200.
And I tell you, if that flop had come out 9-7-4, Amir's going to lose all his money, but that flop is going to save him.
Yep. And Ed's going to take down another one. And I got to think that Ed's probably the big winner so far tonight. Now,
That's pocket 7.
and he shows it. Shows pocket 7s. And you're right, David. That's rags there.
Amir's in trouble.
Yeah. Although, I still think
What?
that you might even fold to Ed with an overpair if he check raises the flop big there. What does he do with, top pair, weak kicker,
he's-
even best kicker? He just calls, right? Check call,
Well,
check
he
call.
seems to. Yeah, he seems to. When he's bluffing, he seems to bet right out.
Right.
If he's check raising you big, he usually has it.
Yep.
Well, him and Bobby are definitely two of the big winners tonight.
Playing 50, 100, no limit hold'em. The white chips are $100 chips. The pink chips are $50
How much
chips.
do you have on it?
Cash game, Dave. The only cash game
Couple thousand?
on any broadcast.
3.
Ed's going to make it 300 to go. He's got ace-jack offsuit.
All right.
And Mike is going to come back over the top with ace-5. Does he know who he's trying to bluff against? He's going to make it 1,200 more to Ed. And Ed's going to call.
The thing I don't understand is Mike is continually trying to bluff the same two people, and it's
We-
not working.
3,000 here. Heads up. Here we go. 8-6-3. Well, Ed's got the best hand.
Well, if Mike continues, you wonder if Ed can win.
But it
this.
goes check, check. Turns a 10. Mike's got the nut flush draw now.
And he checks again.
Check, check again. Oh, and the river's a spade, and
Uh-oh.
Mike gets there with the nut flush.
And Ed has the jack of spades. Uh-oh. I think he's going to get paid off.
Well, he's only going to bet 800 here.
You wonder if he had bet like $2,800, he might have gotten paid off anyway.
I mean, is Mike just trying to pick up, by re-raising, just picking up the dead money?
It seems that way.
It's a
It
real
seems
bad beat for Ed there. I mean, if you said, well, Mike is going to check it if he doesn't hit it, he's going to check it down, you would think that Ed's going to win there with ace-jack, obviously.
Well, I mean, one of the things, I think by raising it, he's trying to pick up the dead money, and then when Ed called, he kind of says, oh, well, I
Yeah.
can't bluff this guy out. Forget it, I'm done with it.
Yep,
You kind of wonder, though, if Mike had overbet the river,
right.
might Ed have called him? Might Ed have put him on a bluff and called him? I don't know. I'm just wondering. Might have been one of those times where you go, well, if I bet 800, the guy's going to call me. Maybe this guy will call me if I bet 3,000.
100.
Limp. Barry's going to limp. He's got pocket 5.
Sometimes that over bet works.
And we're going to see a family pot here. Looks like 5-way action. $500 pot. Ace, queen, 4. Looks like Bobby Belande's got the queen for the best hand. Queen, rag. Turn is a 3. Still has the best hand. Mike's going to put a little bluff bet out here with deuce 7. But Bobby's going to call him.
Now Barry's got a wheel draw and pocket 5s.
And he's going to call.
Yeah. Now, if a 5 comes, it is not good.
River is a 9, and Jean Robert's got the best hand. And this one's just going to get checked down. Bobby's going to take down another pot. There it is.
Thank you.
Five falls off. Fireworks.
Really been a great night of poker here at Live at the Bike. Some heavy hitters: Tim Fan, Jean-Robert Belande, Yosh Nakano, Ken Berg. Some great poker here. We even got Frank Mariano.
Yep.
Man,
Button moves over here to Mike in seat 8. We got about...
I wonder where Jerry Buss is. We haven't seen a lot of him. He was actually on this show a few times.
I don't know if we've ever seen
early
him
on.
play No Limit, actually. I don't
Yeah,
think
he
we
plays
have.
limit hold'em
Yeah,
only.
I don't think we have.
Remember that great episode of Live at the Bike where we had where he played 400, 800 limit hold'em.
That's right.
I love it. I just like this hand.
Bobby's going to bring this one in for a raise in C3. He's got 8-6 suited.
5 of spades exposed.
Yes.
Frank is going to
Who
call
didn't play
a
that
king
hand?
jack.
I wonder who didn't play that hand.
And
Ed's got 8-9. He's going to call.
yeah, pot's $1,300.
5-7.
Here we go. 3-way action. Bobby's the pre-flop raiser to the flop. All hearts. 10-7-4. Frank's got the second nut flush draw. Ed's open-ended with the 9 of hearts.
And John Art Belande has actually got a double gutter here. A 9 or 5 would give him a straight.
He's going to bet 1,000 here. And Frank calls.
Yeah, but he needs a 9 or a 5 that is not a heart.
Pot's now 3,300.
And Ed is open-ended here,
Yep.
but the same thing here. He only has 9 of hearts in his hand.
And he makes the call. We're
Wow.
up to 4,300 here.
Yeah, this is a big pot already.
And no one has a pair yet. Everybody's on a draw. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a 6, and now Ed's got the straight.
Yep. And
Ed's got it.
And Belande has got a pair, obviously no good. Ed's going to bet right out. He doesn't want to give a free card. if
He's going to bet
somebody's got a heart.
1,000. 1,000 into a pot, and Bobby's going to call. Look at this, 1,000 into a $4,000 pot. Frank's out of there. It's a $6,000 pot, and Jean Robert's drawing dead. The river's a 7.
Yeah. John was only drawing to a tie. If a 9 had come out, they would have tied the pot. They would have chopped it up.
Ed bets 1,000, and Ed's going to take down over an $8,000 pot with the straight. There it is.
And I got to say, with that hand, Ed takes the lead.
Yep,
For sure.
absolutely.
Ed is definitely our big winner of the night. Wow.
And I don't know if these guys are necessarily figuring out Ed. I mean, I think that Bobby thought Ed was just on a bluff there.
Well, you know, Doyle Brunson actually said, I was looking at one of his interviews, and I've actually talked to him, and he said, sometimes I have my best successes against pros, against people that really play a lot of poker. Sometimes playing against amateurs or people that, don't play conventional, those are my toughest opponents.
Let me throw this out at you. Everybody knows Ed has a lot of money. He's a very, very successful businessman, which has got to mean he's probably fairly intelligent, probably very intelligent to be a successful businessman. He's been playing this game now on a regular basis for over 5 or 6 months. You think he's picked some stuff up now?
Well,
He's getting better, for
that's
sure.
What I had said that earlier in the show. I said, obviously, this guy's a very smart guy.
Right.
It's not fun losing $40,000, $50,000 every month.
Right.
He's going to figure it out or stop playing.
Right.
Since
right.
he loves playing poker, he's going to learn how to play.
Right.
And he has. I mean, obviously, there are still leaks in his game, but he's getting better.
Right. Limped around here. Looks like 7-way action. $700 pot. Here we go. Jack 9-3. We got a cup. Well, we got Mike over there with Queen Jack.
And Tim also has Queen Jack.
He bets 500. Ken calls with an open-ended straight draw. Let's see if Mike's going to pop this up a bit.
Well, he seems to pop it up when he has nothing. Let's see if he pops it up when he has a marginal hand.
Yeah. He's going to make it, looks like 1,500 total, so 1,000 more.
Okay, that's a nice raise there with top pair. Decent kicker.
Now, this puts Tim to the test a little bit here over in seat 6. I mean, Mike's been doing this with a lot with a crap, but he's going to call. And this might... No, Kenny's not going to call now. Wow.
Well, that's the one thing with Mike is he will get paid off when he has real hands. Now, in this case, obviously, they're looking at a chop here.
Yep. Here we go to the turn.
And neither player is free-rolling, by
Turns
the
a
way.
king, and Kenny Berg would have made the straight.
Neither player is free-rolling. This is going to be chopped. if it
Check,
goes down.
check. The river is an 8. I don't know if we can keep this board up here. Let's see if this one goes check, check. It does. Dave, Mike in seat 8. Actually, Tim bet 500. Ken called. So now the pot's almost it's almost a $2,000 pot.
Right.
Now Mike makes it 1,500 to go. So now the pot's about 3,500. Tim Fan calls.
The pot's 5,000.
Pot's 5,000. You're looking at it. You need to call 1,000 more. You're open-ended. It's a rainbow
He had
board.
Queen 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for 1,000 more, you're getting 5-1. Why not call? I got to agree with you. I have to agree with you on that. That's where you're going to make some money there. I mean, especially when somebody gives you the proper odds to go for your draw,
Yeah.
and then you think you might get paid off also. Why not?
And absolutely, especially, no one at the table is playing crazy aggressive with the propensity that you might actually also get a free card on the turn, which is what happened when both of them were up against each other on the
Well,
turn.
they might not have given a free card had third person been in there, but you never know.
Never
You're
know,
right. I think it's an easy call there.
Yeah.
1,000 to win 5,000.
Right.
Plus, obviously, the implied odds.
Wow, we got a raise here, and Ed's going to come back over the top with ace-jack. Mike raised to 300 with queen 7. He's going to fold. Yosh called.
And Yosh is in bad shape here.
Ed's re-raised, and Ed's got him dominated.
And Yosh doesn't have much money left.
I'm a pussy.
I have a bigger fish to fry. Shut up. 5 minutes. Let me try it.
And Ed makes the call, and we're heads up. Queen 6 deuce.
And they both miss, but Ed is in good command here with his jack.
And Ed's going to bet.
You don't have
Bets 1,500. He's going to put Yosh all in here.
I tell you, Yosh is one of the best cash game players in the world, but you wonder, he's got a lot more experience in mixed game than he does in no limit.
400,000 for your first 3 days.
And he really had a great showing last Friday, Yosh did, but not much tonight, huh?
No.
Why are you distracting me in the middle right now? Can I put my Rolex in this spot?
And Yosh is still thinking about it.
Play it?
I mean, he can only beat a stone cold bluff that's not a pair here. But I mean, he can't beat ace king. He can't beat ace jack, right? Ed re-raised.
He can beat king jack. I mean, that's all he can beat.
And he's going to make the call, but Ed has him dominated.
Dominated.
And if Ed doesn't get unlucky here, he's going to take down another pot. Turns an 8, he needs to dodge a 10. And the river's a 9, and Ed wins another one. Ace
wins.
jack is going to take it. People are going to be looking at Yosh, it's like, you can't beat that? And he turns over
Exactly.
ace 10. Wow.
And Yosh shows it there.
And Ed's on fire.
Ed is en fuego. Buddha. Look at that. Ed might have $40,000 in front of him now, $35,000. Wow.
Well, we're going to take a look at our last chip count of the night. Add about 4,000 or 5,000 onto that. Right there.
And Yosh obviously is broke right now.
So-
Ed has got close to $35,000.
And he's up almost 20 grand for the show.
Phenomenal night for him.
Barry's come back a bit. He's up a little bit.
He's up a little bit. Mike is still up a little bit.
Jean Robert's up about 8 grand. Mike's up.
And obviously the people on the bottom of the board are really down. Frank is
Yeah.
down. Yosh is down.
Yep.
Amir, actually, that's not Frank, obviously, in both seats. Amir's in seat 5. He's up a little bit.
That was a good raise, by the way, Ed. I had 2 sevens there. You did?
Fold the pocket sevens.
Huh?
Fold the pocket sevens.
Well, you're behind me. I didn't know what you were going to do.
What was the
Oh,
flop?
come on, Mike.
Ask the screen.
Wow, what a phenomenal night of poker, huh?
Yeah.
Tell us another
What was the flop, Ed? What was the flop, Mike?
Raised here. 10, 4, 5 with a couple of hearts. Mike's going to bet. Top pair. Ed folds. And Barry folds.
And Mike shows.
Yeah. Now, Dave, word is that you're going to leave the booth. We're going to do one more hand, and you're going to actually go out and do an interview with Ed, our big winner, after this hand, and we're going to stream it here on the broadcast. So it's good to have you there. So this is going to be the last hand of the night, and we're going to swing it over to Dave.
Donna, pull up my hand 2 hands ago and print it and show it to Yosh, please.
Hey, Mike says it's okay for everybody to know what he had that hand when he folded.
Yeah, go ahead, David. Tell me what.
Mike says it's okay for everybody to know. When,
So the button
Ed
here is in
re-raised
seat
his
When
3.
I had 2 sevens.
We're going to raise here.
He sure doesn't remember.
By
you
Bobby.
having 2
It's gonna
sevens.
make
He
it
didn't know if he
200.
remembers the hand, but he sure doesn't remember you having 2 sevens.
He raised. He just raised.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Time. And we got a couple callers here. So ace 6 of diamonds. Kenny Berg's got queen jack.
I hope you don't mean that.
And we are heads up.
No, you can't mean it when we're heads up.
Bobby raised on the button. Here we go. But a $700 pot. King deuce 7. Well, see if Jean Robert bets here and takes it down with continuation bet. Check, check. Turns at 9. Check, check again. And the river's a king. And I'd imagine if Ken bets here, Bobby would call, and it's just going to get shown down. And the ace high is good. So actually, I'm getting word, this is live broadcast, folks. Ed actually hopped up out of his seat and went running away. So we're going to keep it right here, and we can see David there scrambling around to get Ed. We're going to keep it right here for another hand before we can go round up Ed over there.
Well, Portland
So the button's going to move over here to seat 4.
82 points the last 5 games.
Again, what? And there's Ed.
Now they've already
So let's do
given up
one
89
more.
to
Well,
3.
it's going to do what? Let's do one more hand here, and then we'll kick it over to David. Limp, limp. Limped around. And we got 5-way action here. It's about a $500 pot. Deuce 3, 4. Doesn't look like anyone really hit much here. Amir's going to come out and bet. He's got top pair. Tim Fan's got king something. We can't see what the other card here, and he called. He's got king 5. He's open-ended. King 5 offsuit. And we're heads up. Turns a 3. Amir's still in the lead here. And he's going to come out and bet again. He bets 1,000. And Tim Fan's going to call again. Over about a $4,000 pot. And the river's a 4. Amir fills up. And Amir's going to come out, it looks like, and bet 2,000. 2,000 here. And Amir really hasn't been doing much here. And what is Tim Fan going to do? Can he possibly just call here with king high? He's going to make the call with king high, and Amir led with the 4 the entire way. And what a last hand, about $6,000 or $7,000 pot there for Amir. And word is, we have Ed over there. Dave Tuckman is with him. And, of course, we're going to have the big winner interview. So here we go.
I am, David Tuckman on the floor of the Bicycle Casino with the big winner tonight, Ed Shanazarian. How you doing, Ed?
Good.
Well done tonight.
Thank you.
Up over, I want to say up over $20,000 tonight. Really impressive showing. Now, you've got the likes of, I mean, we've got John Robert Belandi at the table. We've got Tim Fan at the table. We've got Yosh Nakano at the table. How did you beat these guys?
I guess by playing a little bit more superior than that.
Yeah, a little bit more superior. I mean, I got to tell you.
Superior.
I got to tell you. I mean, your game has grown tenfold since we saw you. In the last 6 months, we've really seen your game grow. You know. Now, I got to ask you about a couple of hands. There was one hand where you made a really big call. You only had a pair of 9s with a 4 kicker. I mean, really, all you could beat was a pure bluff. And sure enough, that's what Mike had, obviously. He had a pure bluff, threw a $2,000 bet at you in the river, and you called him. How'd you get the read?
Mike tried to put the 2,000 in, but he hesitated for a second, pulled it back and put it back in, and I knew that he didn't have it.
You knew he had it. I mean, because you called him right away. It was a great read by you.
Yeah, but if he hadn't hesitated, I probably wouldn't have called him. But
Right.
he hesitated for a second, so I knew that he wanted to push me out of the pot.
Okay,
So I called him on that.
Okay, really impressive. And I'm just curious here. How do you credit your change in your game here? I mean, have you been reading books? Have you been talking to people, taking lessons? What's going on?
He's getting lucky.
It's like a new Ed.
No, it's actually, I've read a couple of books.
Read a couple books?
Give it back next week.
But, as he says, I might give it back next week.
Hey, you never know, right? But I got to tell you, you're playing great. I'm really impressed.
Thank you, David.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Back to you, Bart.
Well, thanks, Dave. It's always interesting to hear from Ed, and it's good to see him with a big winner tonight. That was actually the first time I think he's been our big winner. Thank you all for joining us on Live at the Bike. Of course, if this is the first time you've joined us, you can check us out tomorrow for a 5-10 unrestricted buy-in game, and Friday for a 10-20 no limit unrestricted buy-in game. We webcast live cash games every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 Pacific time, and starting next week, we start an hour later. So for everyone here in the booth, don't forget to email Bluff Magazine. Go to bluffmagazine.com. Check out their poll. Everyone there in the booth, and thanks to Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.